Hello, everyone. It is Elsa 932 on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. There is no intro, okay? There is no intro for this because we are going Love is Blind around the world and I. So we ain't even going to use the 30 seconds, okay, for the intro. So, of course, y'all know every Saturday, Trey and I come here. Is it Married at First Sight? Is it Love is Blind? Next week, Saturday, we're going to be covering Love is Blind Italy because it starts on Monday with the first 4 episodes. So right now we are going to take y'all around the world for Love is Blind. Now let me pause right now. We don't have to do a whole separate episode just for the United States. Okay? We got how many seasons of just the United States? So this is all the international versions. If you have not watched the show, that is okay. Okay? That is okay if you have not watched these international versions. We are here to be your what? Your guide. Okay? We are going to stamp your passports right here. Okay? So the main thing is here at this channel, I started at Love is Blind Brazil season 4 all the way to now with the international versions. So the stuff before was just casual watching. I am not the expertise, and that's why I have Trey here with me. Trey, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Just had a good old day at work, and now we're here to talk about some good stuff. And, try to have a good time. So here we go.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It went well. Good food, good fam. That was pretty good.
And if y'all aren't following Trey on Instagram, you do not know what he cooked. Okay.
Everything that you saw on the plate, basically everything. Okay.
So Trey, because you and I have been Love is Blind fans, and I'm glad I found a kindred spirit that actually watches the international versions too. Okay, that's hard to find. That is hard to find. Throw your dart at the map and tell me, where would you like to start?
Yeah, getting away from them pumpkin pies. Let's go down to Brazil. Because actually, I think Brazil was the first outside of the countries that started it, besides America.
Yes.
Yeah, let's start with Brazil.
Okay, we're going to start. And Brazil, I only have season 4 and season 5. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's what I did. Let me pull up Brazil.
Brazil.
Okay. Brazil. Okay. This is Brazil season 4. Okay. This is Brazil's season 4 cast. These were the couples that happened on Brazil. Now, here's the thing, y'all. Here's the thing. I'm going to give y'all a trigger warning from now. Brazil season 4, you got a trigger warning. And we're going to go through with that trigger warning right now. Ingrid and Leandro at the reunion, we find out that there was SA. She came onto the reunion in order to confront that man to his face as to what happened. Okay? Now, Brazil, certainly this was a checkered cast apart from that. So I'm going to, this is again what Jesse Wu has been telling folks about with Love is Blind. And again, we all have to be aware. We all have to be aware of what could happen with these folks. So Ariella and Evandro. Trey, do you remember these folks? Because Rosho here is like, I forgot these folks as soon as the season was over.
Yeah, their faces are popping in my head. I definitely remember Ingrid and Leandro. I definitely remember that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe it's season 5. I'm thinking of with the
it's the seniors. Seniors is the season 5.
Wait. What was in season 3? There was another black couple that I remember clearly. It had to be season 3.
Yes, it was season 3. I only remember that because I started, recreationally watching it then. So let me tell you all about Ariel and Evandro. They split up before their wedding, okay? When Ariella confronted him when he what Trey, he did not tell her about all the children he done had.
Oh yeah. He had a village. He had a village. He was
He had
hiding
a
that.
third child that she found out about.
Wow. Yes, that did happen. Oh my good. Yeah. Wait a minute. Was it a situation that he definitely knew about the third child beforehand?
Yes, but it was a
So
younger child, and he was trying to work through kind of co-parenting. It was it was a younger child.
but I was thinking, did I? But I may be incorrect with this, but was he unsure about the um
Paternity
yeah paternity of that child?
at the
But that's
time,
why he
yes.
didn't bring it up. That's why he didn't bring it up and
Right,
everything. And
right.
yeah, that was a sticky one. That
Yes.
was a sticky one. Because on one hand, I understood, but bro, nah, you got to say something. You got to.
Even if there's a question of paternity, you got to say something.
I
But
think he probably got signed up, and that was before he got the other girl pregnant, and then that happened afterwards. So he's like, what do you do?
but she was a piece of work now. She was no fairy tale.
Yeah, he should have got up out of there. Right. That's all I think. I just remember I a lot of talking from her. I just want to remember, like, when I see that face, I a lot of talking. Like,
And
you
a
was
state
drowning
five
her out.
clinger.
Yeah, you drown her out. Like, oh my God, she's speaking again. You know.
Even the ladies couldn't stand her at a certain point.
Yeah.
Even the ladies. Okay. Now moving along to, because y'all, we have a lot to cover. Mariella and Patrick. Okay. They didn't get married because he just thought he wasn't ready yet. And Patrick always wore a hat. That's what he always wore a hat. And in Brazil, the men wear engagement rings, and Patrick refused to wear one. He just put it on a chain around his neck. And we were like, Patrick, you ain't ready. Patrick, you ain't ready. And Mariella was ready. She was ready. Everything is prepared. She was ready to get married. She was ready. But Patrick had, he had a receding hairline. He did tell us about that, and he had that taken care of. So at the reunion, he took his hat off.
Had them plugs. Got the plugs.
Oh, no.
It got better over the years. Remember them things first came out? You can actually see the pores in people's head.
Yeah.
They got better over the years.
Well, then, too, when I did Match Me Abroad, there was a gentleman there that got hair follicles tattooed to make it look like he had hair follicles.
That's crazy.
That's how far they're going. So next is Renata and Alexandre. Okay, they did get married, but at the reunion, they were no longer together. And were in a non-monogamous style relationship. But here's the thing. They back together.
Really? Like lately?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
What?
They are back together. So what it is, Alexandre, y'all in the US will be like, oh my God, he has roommates. Oh my God, he's living with other people. But he owns a nightclub, and one of the other owners with him, they would cohabitate. And Renata stayed where she was. They were living, quite a bit apart. He also had a child. Remember, he also had a son.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, and it's not only that, y'all. They're expecting their first child next year.
Okay. I guess two things. I guess they realized that, out of the things that they want in someone else, they actually didn't find it in each other. So why not work this thing out somehow, whatever, figure it out. But also, all of the international Lovers Blinds, I've noticed they were a little more open to people who were either had children or had been married beforehand versus the US version. of this show.
Right, right. And keep in mind, many of these instances, until they file the paperwork, they're not legally married. So
That's true.
while they're saying they are married in the US, we get married, we file the paperwork right away.
Mm-hmm.
They at the reunion, some of them, Brazil is one, you can decide, when you file the paperwork, if you did file the paperwork to be legally married or not. It's just a ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is that better or worse?
You see, I got to look at that for Married at First Sight. I think it's better.
You know,
It's better culturally outside of the US, but here, I don't think people would take it as seriously.
They don't take it seriously now.
I know,
so it's
Trey. I know, Trey. I know, Trey. Leave it alone.
I can't, because when we talk about a certain season, that's going to be the mainstay of that season. When you take things seriously, this is what it looks like.
Right. But I just wanted, that was the only one that I really have, just to tell y'all. That's the only one I really had big news about, that Renata and Alexandre are expecting in 2026. Okay. I was floored. I was floored by that. Then we already spoke, trigger warning, about Ingrid and Leandro. Okay. I really didn't think they were a match at all when they were together there. But they did get married, and then, he moved into her house that she was building. I was like, this man ain't even, he was divorced recently, living with his family, which again is not an issue culturally there. But again, there was a ton of issues I saw with Ingrid and Leandro. And she also, here's where I had, and this is in no way going at Ingrid, y'all, at all, but she also said there was a performance issue with Leandro, that he couldn't quite perform. And I was like, how's that going to translate literally out here?
Right. I hate to get into this, but can you remind us what were the actual allegations that she levied towards him?
She filed a police report for sexual abuse. She also did a restraining order. Basically, it was grape. She accused him of grape.
I was just about to say, the whole time it was, I kind of, and this is no excuse at all for what I'm about to say, but at the time, I always felt like Leandro was the type of person, he probably was into more the rougher style of sex or whatever. He was just giving that energy. That's kind of
giving a lot of energy.
Yeah,
he flipped the RV over. Come on, Trey.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, problems from day one. So that's why it was so weird when they actually got together. I was like, now I'm not saying she deserved what she got. No, not at all. She did what she should have. Call the police. Do what you got to do. Get away from this man. But there was telltale signs from Jump Street. It was like, yo, something off with this dude. Why are you?
And what hurt me as well in watching it and wondering why, Ingrid had 2 daughters, and I was uncomfortable. Even without knowing the young ladies, I was uncomfortable. So I know she probably wanted, this husband and a relationship that will stand the test of time. Of course, again, as I told you all, trigger one, she came to the show to confront him, because it is, as the Brazilian audience that do follow me were able to teach me, that often this goes not just unreported, because women will report it, but men do not feel the effects of, they're not held accountable for these sorts of things. So Ingrid doing that on the stage at the reunion was a battle cry for women all around Brazil. Yes, High Vibe. Yes. That is why Jessie Wu went around saying about, Black girls, and she did spot it on different, and this ain't the only one, High Vibe. This ain't the only one, but that was Ingrid and Leandro. But I applaud her for even coming there and having her say at the reunion stage. Next up is Vanessa and Leonardo. These were two lawyers, and I was like, they just too cushy. They just flowed through. They got married at the beach, a beautiful ceremony. They are still together. And I didn't see any children announcement, but they were going to be trying. But of course, they are lawyers, and they had a wonderful love story when the families came together. They blended well. The uncles, the grandfather, grandma, auntie was even saying, if you don't marry him, he could come by and marry me. They had a really good relationship and banter, Vanessa and Leonardo. Glad to see that they're still together.
How many years ago was season 4? Was it? When did that
This
come out?
was 2024. Yeah, 2024.
Okay.
Thank you. Vanessa is expecting and due soon. Okay, thank you so much, Alicia B. I was frantic looking up stuff and just trying to get these photos together, y'all. We have tons of slides today. It's hard to get the international cast photos because they do them wrong. Now I'm going to remove your comments just for a minute so we can get to the last one. Muriel and Khalid. You remember them?
I remember them the least.
Okay, they got engaged, but they were not featured on the show. They were not selected to go on the honeymoon and everything. Okay. But they brought them back. They brought them back like during the bachelorette stuff to let the folks know that they did get engaged and they were together, and they ended up, actually getting married later on that year. But they are a success story from Love is Blind that was not featured in the main cast. And that's what we kind of figured, so Love is Blind be having people engaged and not featuring.
Yeah, it's so weird. Ain't that so weird? But it's really not when you think about it.
No, it's not really weird. You're right. It's not that weird.
You see what the priority is half the time, or what they actually want to show. It's not about. It's really not about the success stories. It's about what drama they can put on TV and have people talking about it. But
right.
It's sad. Right. Sad to be. I say the more success stories you have, the more people will at least come to watch it, because it works. At least say it works. You're gonna have your bad apples in certain situations happen, whatever. But to me, if you want to keep that show going, have more success stories.
Right. They do want to feature the drama. They do want to feature the drama. And this season 4, Brazil had a lot of drama. And this is where I started my channel. And I was like, oh, how do I say this? What do I say? YouTube policies, trying to get photos, trying to do this and that. Before y'all see the lovely visuals I have for y'all, I didn't have anything. Any visuals. If y'all go back to the beginnings of this channel, where, season 4 of Brazil, I didn't have, I barely had a photo. I was just talking. Okay. Was there anything else you saw with this Brazil cast that you want to talk about?
We're good to go. He gonna hit up season 5 of them? Oh boy, is that the old?
Let me remove it and let me go grab season 5 for you, Trey, because I know you like season 5.
Season 5 was funny.
Close your ears, Sam. Close your ears, Sam. So this is season 5, y'all. This is the cast of season 5 that went along and got married. I couldn't get photos of the ones that didn't. You know who I'm talking about. Luciana and Mario, where he saw her. They were talking all kinds of what I'm going to do to you when I see you, girl. And when he saw her, he bounced straight out the studio. She said, I propose to you. And that's the other thing. Brazil and other countries, the women can propose in some countries. I propose to you. Now you got to do the final thing and propose to me right now. And he like, yeah, you gonna be good? You gonna be all right? Okay, I'm gonna leave right now. That was, I couldn't get the photos, but these are the 5 that made it past the reveal.
If we try to give that man hell for doing what he did, I said, hey, listen, at least he didn't drag her behind all and up through that daggone TV show. So he saw it, he looked at us like, oh, no, this is not going to work. He turned her down respectfully and kept it moving. So everybody want to get upset about that. No, he knew it wasn't going to work with no physical attraction. Nah, I ain't about to drag this woman along. So I praised him for it. Now y'all want to get upset with him? Okay, that's on you. Play. Hey, you know it ain't gonna work. Don't go through this. Don't go through that. You need it.
That's a very moving speech trait. That's very, very moving. But he can walk away from her. That's okay. But it's how he walked away. He didn't even turn back. He was the first Anton. He walked straight out the studio, clean out. He didn't even turn back to let the doors close.
Nah,
he was the first one to do it. Come on now. Brazil is always at the forefront of doing things. And this was all kinds of things. So let's start off with
very passionate people.
Very passionate.
Men and women. You got to get used to that. The men are just as passionate and emotional as the women. And so that's one thing watching Brazil you got to get used to.
Yes. So let's start off. Let's start with the big drama. Mario, Roberto, and Lucielma. If y'all see on the top left, okay. Yes, high vibe. He walked out the reveal.
Clean out.
Clean out. With the ring. She handed him the ring and he walked out with it.
Oh yeah, she did, didn't she? She did because she was the one that proposed. She did, didn't he? He was like, nah, it's time to go. It ain't gonna work. That door open. He said, a little too much for me. Is that what he said? A little too much for me. You know what I'm saying? She was a pretty woman. Her face card was good, but the rest of her, she was a little plush.
Right. So she was a pear-shaped woman, very plus size. She also, and I didn't get their pictures. She also was she was another one who had a relationship with a woman, a long-term relationship. Remember, we saw that in Love Is Blind Minnesota here. But she was that
free woman. She's a very sexually free woman.
Yes. And he wanted to talk about that. And the other lady who didn't want, she was a more conservative, he was like, well, I can't talk about this with you. And you're going to feel some kind of way if I talk about like this around other women. So I'm going to need to dump you and pick her. And then he walked clean out. Y'all, if you have not seen Love Is Blind, again, Brazil is at the forefront. I need over 50s for every single country and demographic.
This personality-wise, they actually worked better.
Yes.
So I understood why that connection was there. Personality-wise, they work better. It's just attraction-wise, we both said, I'm like, at that reveal, we don't know how it's going to go. We both said that. And yeah, he went, and he went out. So I'm out.
He said, I'm gone. He didn't even wave goodbye. But yes, Mario, Roberto, and Lucielma, if you see on the top left there, this was, he told her he had financial issues. Okay. He was living at the gym that he was helping to manage. Okay. Now, we didn't get the crux of why that was. Our American assumption is he divorced. But hey, he did say too, he had several businesses that went under. Lucielma, though, she got married the first time at 16. This would have been her third marriage. And her parents said at this point, they don't want to meet no new men, no new husbands, and they will not be part of the wedding and the whole festivities. But here's the other thing, okay? She kept on pressuring him. Well, I should say she was the knife lady. Okay, she was the knife lady. And while we thought at first it was endearing that she was like, hey, I just want a husband. I want to be somebody's wife. She was stage 5 clinger real early. What happened, y'all, is she has a plethora of animals at her home too. He was not for that. He's like, I am not moving in here. Okay. So even though y'all saying he homeless, he has standards, okay? He was a dance teacher and all of that. And she worked, I believe she worked in finance the way they said it. The way they said it. But Mario, Roberto, they all wore yellow, which was her favorite color at the wedding, and she was our first runaway bride, y'all. She got all dolled up. She said of all the weddings, this is the first time she had a wedding dress, ode to Belinda from Married at First Sight, Austin. First wedding dress, she got all dolled up, and she decided to leave him a letter and drive off into the sunset with one of not romantically, but her best friend, one of the ladies who went through the process with her. He saw the letter, and like Will on Married at First Sight Austin, he threw it in the trash. He didn't look for it. His mama, his daughters, all his family was there. He was going to say no, but he was going to do it respectfully. And the production didn't even realize she left. They ran up with mic on and everything to the host and hostess and say, y'all gonna have to go tell him she ain't here. And they told him, and he had to apologize in front of everyone. But he said, if you can't tell it to me in person, I don't want to hear it. And not only that, she felt some kind of way afterwards, Lucy Elma, and then she stalked this man, everybody's cell phone that she could use. I believe she's the reason we didn't have a reunion.
Yeah, we didn't have a reunion for them, did we? It was
no,
weird.
We didn't.
It was weird.
Everybody phone she could use. He said he blocked her. He blocked the daughter. He blocked the parents' number. Then she started using coworkers, neighbors, everybody to try and reach this man.
That was wild. We heard that. That was wild. Like
I think she is the reason, because Broad Brazil said is we are not having another season 4 reunion
back to back. I've always wondered, okay, you decided to leave this man at altar. Okay, fine, that's your decision. Cool. Why are you trying to hound him down now? For what? For what? You pretty much said what you need to be said. He didn't read your letter. I don't blame you. Hey, throw that thing in the trash, keep it moving. Your actions have spoken loudly. So what do we have to talk about? Why are you trying to chase me down for? Like this, that was the crazy part.
It was. I didn't understand it either, but she really, really wanted to be a wife, wanted to be, somebody's wife. Now, another wild one right below them is Revo and Sylvia. And Sylvia is Lucy Elma's good friend in the whole process. Revo was a wild dude too. Revo is like, I may be 57. I think he was 57 or 67, but I'm real young. I could do X, Y, Z. And y'all, these senior men do have teenage children. Okay. Yeah. I need y'all to understand some of these men, Ricardo's daughter was 14. Revo's daughter was 16. These 50-something, almost 60-year-old men have teenage children.
Getting it in.
So their mamas having these babies ain't in their 50s, okay?
30.
Okay, exactly. Thank you, Trey. But Revo was being tossed around because it was Fatima was the eldest lady. I think she was 60, and they were like, "Oh well, Sylvia said, I'm a bow out so you could have somebody, at least you could have Revo." And she said, "I don't want nobody's leftovers." And Sylvia's like, "Well, I'm gonna go get my man back." Sylvia also has a seniors OnlyFans account that she did tell folks, and I think Revo was excited about that. But Revo also had eyes for Lika, who's up there with Leo. Leo is a dentist. And Lika, we saw, was stage clinger stalker, single white female behavior. How do you, on your first night of your honeymoon, Lika, or the getaway, say, yeah, the first time with my fiance wasn't that much sparks. It was lackluster. How do you say that on camera? How do you say that on camera? The other ones, Ida and Ed, they were getting it in like rabbits. They were equally yoked. We thought at the reveal maybe Ida won't be Ed's typical type, but Ed was like, hey, 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 I likes you. Do you like me? You good? We good. For Nivea and Ricardo, she was a widow for 3 years. Her adult children, who were still at home, did not appreciate this whole process. They were not supportive, but her deceased spouse was also named Ricardo. Yeah, we saw a problem with that one.
That was weird.
It was very, very weird. Only Ida and Ed eventually did marry. And they didn't last by the time we talked to them later on. Revo and Sylvia never made it out of the honeymoon or the vacation because what? Revo was asking Lika out to dinner. Could you go on a date with me? I know you got a fiance over there and he's my best pal and all, but would you go on a date with me? And actually, Lika and Revo showed up at Nivea and Ricardo's wedding together.
Mm-hmm.
Trey, what did you think about this cast?
Even old people can be messy. That's exactly what I thought about. Like, even old people can be messy. And messy. Revo? Don't forget, Revo got into it with a couple of the men's cast members because he was kind of moving in on men's women, so to speak, even though you're not really your women. Everybody's in competition here. Now, mind you, remember I said I kind of didn't have an issue with it because he was straight up every time, especially in the lounge. In the lounges, he was straight up every time. Hey, I like her, so I'm going to pursue her. He told you straight up, or we're in competition. It is what it is. My only issue with Revo is when now we coupled up, and you giving Leo's fiance the googly eyes, and then telling him that you're giving her the googly eyes, bro. What? Stop. Now you crossing the lines. Okay? Now you getting out of hand. Now I was about to say, don't Sylvia remind you of Rhonda?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
I kept thinking that, like, wow, Sylvia remind me of Rhonda from just kind of the same person almost to a certain extent. He said Sylvia might be a little more, she's a little loose up there. She's a little loose. She was a little loose. Okay, you ain't gonna be running around here, throwing nunchucks around. Like, what?
Well, her son taught her the nunchucks, and her son is the one who she said suggested she do the OnlyFans for mature audiences.
Weird.
He manages her OnlyFans.
Weird. Also, why is my son or child managing my OnlyFans? What? Okay. And I know there's some innocuous pages on OnlyFans, but let's keep it real. We know what it's primarily known for. Okay? Why are you even allowing your child, who's a grown adult, to see you in a certain light?
She said it wasn't a lot. She said she would shower in a bikini and stuff like that.
Yeah, nah, I would never. I wish my mama would. What? Excuse me?
Trey, would you suggest that to your mama? What would she say?
You may never see me again, okay? If this is the last time we see each other, I have appreciated my time with you. You know what I'm saying? I have enjoyed it. We have good fun times. And, I would miss you all. That is what would happen. I would just disappear. That's what's going to happen. Disappear. Conversations like that. Nah, yeah, I'm gone. Now, I've had some different conversations with my mom. I remember when I first became an adult, I was like, 19 or something like that, 20. Yeah, around that time. And all of a sudden, my mom got comfortable with me talking about her sex life. I was like, wait, what? Whoa. But I had to check myself was like, you know what? I'm an adult now. Maybe she feels comfortable with having an adult conversation. So I sat there and listened. And it wasn't that crazy. It was my mother's a very religious woman, but she was dating someone at the time, and she has a hard line. Ain't no hanky panky going down without a ring on the finger. We got to get married. So I guess she was feeling the pressures of that. I guess he wanted a more physical relationship, but she was on her stance, and I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, what do I say? I want to run, but I'm an adult. I consider myself an adult. I gotta handle this like an adult. Let's have a conversation.
You grown, right? You grown, right? You gotta hear all this.
If you're gonna say you grown, you gotta be ready to have grown conversations. So I had to talk to my mom like, listen, I understand. I get his standpoint for wanting to have some physical whatnot, whatever. But you told him from Jump Street what your standards were. So ain't too much else to say. Unless you want to relax your standards, no, okay. It is what it is. If it ends the relationship, it ends the relationship. But you told him from Jump Street what it is.
But it was an eclectic bunch, okay? It definitely was. Many people were retired, but it was very, very different. We hadn't heard some of these things. And we had to change our thought process too, Trey, because somebody was like an Uber driver. But again, he was retired teacher, and then he was just an Uber driver now. So we had to change our way of assessing these folks because guess what? They were, on another phase in life. Leo was the only one I think had an official title. He was still a dentist. He was a slow burn. He had kids.
He was the youngest, wasn't he? He was the youngest.
I think he was the youngest. I think Leo, and I have them pulled up
here.
I think
Lika was probably the youngest too, wasn't she?
He was 50. And Lika, let me see. Lika is 51 actually.
Okay. But I think they were the youngest.
Yes, they were the Samuel, who we didn't see, he was 51 as well.
Okay.
But yes, it went all the way up to 70. Fatima was 70 and Revo was 67. Mm-hmm. Revo was 67. Yeah, Revo is 67 with a teenage child. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
He's a currency banker. He deals with moolah, dinero, whatever currency you have, he deals with it. And at 67, he has, a good portfolio. I'm quite sure. But Ida and Ed were in the arts. Ed was like, Ida is always on her phone, always doing this, that, and the other. And he felt judged. Ed liked the higher points in life. Ed is like, I have reached this age. If I want top shelf, I'm only going to be having top shelf.
You just want to enjoy life. You like, hey, I done lived it. So it's like, I done lived it. I just want to enjoy life. And honestly, that's the only reason why I didn't go so hard on Ed, because I'm like, yeah, the tail end. He's like, why? I cannot put strenuous boundaries on a person when they have already lived that time that it was time to have those boundaries and standards about yourself. Like, it's past that. Like, if they were 20 something, 30 something, yeah, I'll probably have a lot more to say. But
yeah, oh yeah. But Ed also had a rotation of women through their Trey. Isn't he too grown for all that?
Well, like I said, at some point when that rotation was happening, if you did the calculations, that had to be back in his like late 30s and 40s, even 20s.
Remember, Ed got 2 children the same age, and they ain't twins.
But they're older now.
They're 34. He did. Yeah, Ida asked him in the pods, "You have kids?" Yes, 2. What are their ages? 34. Oh, twins? No, they're not twins, but they're both 34.
Well, we're talking 30 plus years ago.
And the fact is that he was slanging and dingling. I got caught twice in the same year.
Years ago. You gonna make us still pay for that now? 30 plus. I mean, whatever woman has some kids back to back, and you look kind of funny looking. It was 30 plus years ago. We got at some point you do have to let it go.
They were only 4 months apart, Trey. Come on now.
30 plus years ago.
Now, them hood twins.
Now, if they were teenagers now, they're okay. Hold on, bro. You still out here being a little reckless. They're adults with their own children or whatever. Like, he's a grandpappy. Like, I'm like, I guess my point is, when you get to a certain age, some things I am willing to relax on a little bit. The only thing that disturbed me about this whole cast, why was some of y'all still acting like they had the mentality like y'all was still 15 or something? Like, at least act your age. Like, a lot of the stuff y'all know, it takes communication and effective communication with one another. Why are you still acting like you 30 and still trying to make it work? Y'all already know, or at least have a good idea how things should go. Yeah, y'all still acting like stop it.
Well, that was the case with Nivea and Ricardo. Ricardo said he'd never attended a wedding before, even though his brother is married and his best friend is married. But remember why they had a blow up right before their wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Ricardo, Nivea said, I spent the day just writing my vows because, we're getting married soon. And he thought she was keeping insider information. She didn't tell him he had to write vows, and she wanted to embarrass him publicly. And how could you? And you and what does it sound like, Chad, right? You and the crew didn't tell me nothing. Y'all just want to embarrass me. I didn't know I had to do all this. And stormed off and left her.
Yeah, I don't know. I always felt like he was trying to start a fight for no reason. He really didn't. It was one of those situations. He probably took a look at this situation and didn't see a long-term relationship. So now he's finding any reason to get up out of there without being straight up and say, you know what? I like you. I think you like me, but for some reason, I don't think this is going to work. Because honestly, the only thing he probably could point to that I don't think he really wanted to, because it might have came off a little insensitive or rude, was the fact that it seemed like she was just trying to find a replacement for her other Ricardo that she lost.
Right. That's what it sounded like. And for High Vibe, this came out in September of this year, 2025. So we may not have another Brazil till 2026 around September. And these kind of cycle around unless it's a new international location. They kind of cycle around at the same time, like UK was always August. So definitely for anyone else who is looking to do this, season 4 was 2024, season 5, 2025. Anything else with this cast? Because we love the seniors.
They were funny. They were definitely entertaining.
They were hilarious. And, Sam, our good steward in the chat, was looking so forward to this. Like, the seniors are going to teach y'all how to date.
And she was
and guess what?
She was so disappointed. Poor Samantha. She just was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm so disappointed with the disappointment. She was like, girl, it's okay, Samantha. It's okay. Calm down. No, it just makes no sense. I was just, she was just so moved by it. I'm like, okay, it's okay. It's okay.
She's going to get you for trying to make an impression of her voice.
Oh, now, if you want me to make an impression, I can make an impression.
No.
We ain't going to do that. Because I like Samantha. We ain't going to do that.
High Vibe, it is pure entertainment. Please watch it. Yes, we do love you, Sam. We love. And Sam came up on the panels then because she was so sure the seniors will get it together.
She's like, I cannot believe this. I am flabbergasted. How can you be this old and act this way? Oh my goodness. I'm just you know what it is? So I was like, oh, okay. She feels like way by this.
You're so wrong.
What? That's how she felt. We felt this because she was right. It was like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, y'all 50, 60 something years old, 70, and y'all acting like y'all 15. What is going on? Like, really? Come on.
But we need, because of that, we need this in every country. Okay.
Yeah, it would be cool to have over 50 casts for each country to
Yes.
see how that goes. I can only imagine. Well, you know what? We got a hint of how it would look in America with this bad season of Mavs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how it would look on Love Is Blind scenario, but yeah, we
I
got
would
a
love
hint.
it though, Trey. I would love it. And you know where I would go first? Florida.
Oh God, I don't know about that one.
All the seniors in Florida. I will hit there first. All the
Oh,
seniors in
good
Florida,
God Almighty.
yes.
Oh, good God
All
Almighty.
the scenics in all the seniors in Phoenix, Arizona, yes. Oh,
Oh, Phoenix might be cool.
oh,
Phoenix might be cool.
yes. Texas seniors, oh yes.
Now, that's gonna be something else right there.
Mm.
A lot of
So
shooting.
where would you like to go next on the map? You know, we got several other places to go.
It might as well, it might as well go on to Western Society's sister season, which is England
Oh, you want to
or
go to
London.
the UK? Let's go to season 1 of the UK. Now, this was season 1 of the UK. Okay. And if somebody got a love triangle like the top left, I'm gonna put the other person in the little corner. Okay. So Benaya and Nicole, okay, they and Sam were in a trifecta in the pods.
Mm.
Nicole chose Sam to everybody's dismay because
Mm.
we saw the other
Right.
side of Sam, that he was playing her. Okay. But when she chose Sam and they met in person and then they went and met and they were about to leave for the vacation, Nicole's like, no, I should have picked Benaya. Now, all of y'all were carrying on about Benaya. Oh, he's he homeless. He ain't got nothing. He ain't doing nothing. He just couch surfing. When the way he was behaving, he would go to different locations, help build them, the deck or whatever, and he would live at the location while he's doing it and be around. Like, he sounded like he was backpacking Europe. That to me did not sound homeless. I did not put the Western thing, and come to find out, Benaya is from a very well-to-do family. Got that deep wealth in Europe. Okay? Yes, yes. You see Sam. Sam is from London. Then we have Ollie. Y'all know Ollie's now married and expecting with AD, but Ollie was matched with Demi, and they went all the way to the altar. And we were like, we ain't too sure about these two. And Demi is the one who actually said no at the altar. But y'all, Benaya and Nicole are still married, still going strong. Just to give y'all a heads up. Tom and Maria, I didn't have much hope for these two at all. Maria had a very east I don't want to say, her family was from Iran or Syria, right?
Mhm.
And then Tom was very much, he wanted I think he wanted a 50-50 woman, but she wanted to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. And Tom is like, I'm not sure I can facilitate that right now.
Mhm.
Jasmine and Bobby, Bobby had ended the season with the body of a dancer. He was luxury sales or luxury purchases on the cruise ships. And he had how can I say it, a standoff with Jasmine's mama, who came to visit. And we were all worried about them. But hey, they are now proud parents, still married, still together. And then we had Catherine and Freddie. Freddie is y'all darling, but I still think there's something hidden about Freddie that we just don't all understand. And Freddie, he was in match, whatever, perfect match, whatever. And Catherine, we thought she was after him for his money. Freddie was a mortician and he had some money. There's money in that background. Okay. But definitely, y'all, this was season 1. What were your thoughts about season 1 of UK?
Season 1 was interesting. Out of the group, the whole Maria and Tom, I had the most issue with Maria only for one particular thing. It wasn't about what she wanted out of a marriage on the tail end of things. If that's what she wanted, that was her expectations. Whether you like it or not, or you thought it was realistic, that's her expectations. My only issue was when they were in the pods, she presented herself as a very independent woman, and that's how she wanted to live her life. and also being more of a partnership with her husband. It flipped once they got outside the pods. It flipped. That's why Tom, when all of a sudden he was like, "What's going on here?" Whoa. So that my only issue with Maria, like, whoa, wait a minute, you pulled a flip on this man. Like, you presented yourself one way, and it wasn't the truth when it came down to it. So, yeah, I'm not surprised he came up with a no. Like, this is not going to work. So that and Ali and Demi, I thought one way about Ali and Demi. I always felt like I was kind of on everybody else's boat. Like, maybe he really wasn't that into her, like he said he was, whatever. But it has been some recent interviews that I've seen with Demi and how she's talked about him and what actually happened between them. It does make me change about their situation because, according to her, according to her, their relationship was actually, for the most part, fine. He was locked in. She was the one to kind of pull back from it and change the mind of what she actually wanted. This is her words. Not anybody else. I heard this recently. She was on a podcast with the ladies from the Uncut podcast or whatever, the three Nigerian girls or whatever. And she kind of was talking about this. I was like, oh, interesting. She was saying, like, she was having a conversation with her dad, and she realized some of the stuff that she said she kind of wanted. Now she wanted something a little different, and that just made her and Ollie not on the same page. And he was a little distraught about it or whatnot, and that's what kind of led to them not having it work. But she did say that they had discussed that prior to the wedding. So they already knew it was going to be
right.
A no. So it was like, well, she already knew it was going to be a no. She said that I think she said, if I'm correct, that was the only thing that she kind of regretted. She wish she would have been a little bit upfront with him because, at least before the wedding, he's giving heads up because the way they kind of went into it, she was kind of made it seem, for the production of the show, made it seem like an iffy. It was going to be an iffy kind of thing. But she already knew.
I left out one couple, and I'm sorry, Steven and Sabrina are not pictured here. And I knew I was forgetting a couple, but I couldn't figure out who it was in time for the show. That was the one where she lived in Scotland. And the long distance crippled their relationship. I know you can't. I know you probably won't remember. He had a big old beard. He was a big old stocky guy. Very handsome man, and she was a beautiful young lady with dark hair and was straight, and she had bayangs. But that I have to say, in case anybody's looking here and looking at this, yes, I did forget one couple. And by the time we talk about this another time, I'll make it right. But they had the most amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 6 couples for this first season. They followed around. And we also saw with y'all see how things work out. Also on this wasn't, Catherine was Ollie's other choice. And Catherine went with Freddie. And when they all met at the mixer, y'all know we love the first mixer when people who loved each other and were almost too engaged, see each other. And Catherine and Ollie were looking at each other, mighty interested. That mixer, everybody was like looking because it smelled fishy. It smelled fishy. And now, I ain't watched the whole thing, but I saw the clips of Perfect Match. It seems like, But you know what? That's somebody's husband right now, so I'm gonna leave Ollie alone. That's somebody's daddy to be soon, so I'm gonna leave him alone. But when I was recapping and reviewing how this whole played out, I said, "Oh, Perfect Match is showing the same kinds of qualities." Huh. Anything else you had that stood out with this season?
Besides, we were so happy that Freddie was like, "Get away from this woman. She's just after your boo." Yeah, yeah. And then I was worried about Bobby for a minute there. I was worried about Bobby. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still kind of worried about Bobby. I'm still just a little worried. Because I'm beyond. Listen. Mm, Jasmine is beautiful. Okay. But to me, it was given one of those situations. Oh, oof. It was given one of those situations where, actually, we talked about this one time. Men will deal with crazy depending on how fine you are. Okay,
Ooh,
so now it's going to depend on how much crazy am I going to take versus how fine she actually is.
because she got the body of a dancer.
Well, everything about it, yes, she's fine as heck. She's very attractive. I knew the moment he saw her, he was like, "Woo!" You know, and I saw him put on the blinders for a few things. But the one thing I would say is at least Jasmine was always straightforward about who she was and what she wanted. So I'm like, if you accept that, then it is what it is. She's straight up and honest with you. The only thing that made me pause on her was that relationship with her mom
Yes.
and how she would her mom was going to interfere. I ain't put 20 on 10. I'm being 10 up 10 and 10 10. It's how she was. You know what I'm saying? Well, nothing wrong with her. She fine as heck. But there's certain things about personality that made me pause. Like, whoa, you believe that? Oh, don't know if that's going to work. But she was straight up and honest about it. Bobby seemed to accept that. Okay, then, bro, you accept that. Her standards and needs, you got to live up to it. You ain't gonna catch me arguing with that, especially if she's straight up with it and she never changed about that. The only thing that threw me off was she slow played how bad it really was with her mom. she kind of downplayed that just a
Yes.
little bit, because she knew it was going to be a rough ride when her mom showed up,
Right.
and it was a rough ride.
And I do follow Nicole Benaya, online, and Jasmine and Bobby not so much, but I do, like check in. But I've seen them go a vacation together, the four of them, including Demi. They go vacation together and hop over. They're just in the UK, so all of Europe is the playground. So I've seen them, the five of them vacation. They seem to have a really good friendship. Really, really good. But we did see, like, also online, Catherine and Sam were hanging out, because that was wild when they came back for like the bachelorette party. Catherine was asking Sam if he lived close by. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
It sound like UK, right? The
Don't forget
second
about
season.
Sam. Don't forget about Sam. Yeah, yeah. She was
What's
on
up
to
with
the
the
next.
UK? Any UK people in the house? Tell us what is up with asking people if they don't live too far.
I don't know. It just sound pretty self-explanatory to me.
Okay.
Self-explanatory to me.
While your fiance is right over there. Hey,
She was
Nestos.
already
I
she
know
was
you don't
already
watch this.
setting it up. She was already setting it up.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah,
do this, man.
You may think Sam is cringe, but Sam is a stereotypical kind of GQ kind of guy. Okay, if
Yeah,
you want
he's gonna
if you
pull him.
want IG photos looking good, Sam is your man.
He's gonna pull him. But he acts so arrogant with it. So that's what really making you cringe about him. He's so arrogant with his. You know what I'm saying? The actual Here's the funny thing is Freddie should have the personality of a Sam.
Preach,
But
preach.
Freddie is a lot more demure and laid back with his. You know, everything that Sam said he was and wanted to act like, Freddie actually had the looks and the cash to back it up and the style.
But he didn't have doors in the house.
Well, Who
was
needs a door?
Freddie is the salt of the earth guy. Freddie, yes, Freddie.
Yeah.
It was very humble, very handsome, humble. All the things. The family has a business. He has his own property. All that stuff. Again, my thing is Freddie even going on Perfect Match and all this and ain't finding a match. What is up with Freddie?
You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what's up with Freddie. It's what you just said. He's more down to earth, salt to earth type of guy. He's not one to stand out this and that third. But the problem is, this is his issue. He looks the way he looks, and he has a little bit of cash behind him. Those people looked at him was like, yeah, we want you on this next show because he is so marketable. He's so marketable.
I'm not talking about that trend. I'm talking about as a man looking at another man. He ain't got nobody, ain't got the prospects of nobody. Why is this man single?
He's not settling for bullcrap. And he's in a position that he knows. He is in a position that he really doesn't have to settle for anything. He can demand a lot from a woman.
But then when we say that, y'all tell us lower our standards. Freddie need to lower his standards.
No. The only time we go into this is when we actually looking at women who actually have standards they shouldn't have for themselves to begin with. Now, if you come across a woman who is all put together, not only even looks, but her career, this and that third, but she has high standards, you ain't gonna see me complain. She has a right to demand it. She has every right to demand it. She is on a certain level. So, yes, she can demand it.
He's sounding like the ladies with the fairy tale. Your head is in the clouds.
Unfortunately, he has the accolades to be in the clouds a little bit.
Then he going to be in the clouds alone. He going to be in the clouds alone.
And that's the risk you run. That is the other side of this. That's the risk you run.
But then it's a whole waste of genetics is a whole. Come on now.
I'm always going to preach. You should strive for some type of balance within that. If you are a handsome or a beautiful individual, you have a good career, you got good qualities about yourself, good home training, humble. Yes, I'm going to tell you, just don't go for any. If you're man or woman, don't go for any said person out there on the street, this and that third. You're going to have to be a lot more selective about what you do, how you do it. I mean, look at it. We don't know just because he's a reserved individual, he ain't out here putting his business out in the street like that. He's not loud or nothing like that of the sort. Now all of a sudden he's a sneaky individual. What are we really talking about here?
We're talking about we don't know the real Freddie. We don't know enough. Freddie's keeping enough close to his chest that we can't make an assessment and say, hey, Freddie, maybe that's why you're still single. And when we can't get a foothold like that, we think somebody's hiding a whole hell of a lot.
I think the problem is we know enough. It's the fact that because who he is and how he's acted or whatever, we feel like we need to know more. But honestly,
exactly.
He's probably showed us everything who he is.
It could be, and I will give you that. It could be as it's presented, okay? And it could be beautiful gowns, okay? He could be a beautiful gowns because all we see is a pretty face, and there may be, a great deal of depth, but no substance to the depth.
He comes across as a simple dude for the most part.
Trey, it looked like when somebody has a Thanksgiving feast and you're like, can't wait to chow down, but then when you actually put the fork to your mouth, you're like, damn, this thing is bland. That's what it's giving to me. Hey, Munira, good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. Yes, hope all is well. That's what Freddie's giving me.
I agree with Togo's Africa's comment, that last comment there. I agree with it. Yes, he is smart enough to select women who don't put his business in the streets. That's why he hasn't chosen one yet. Because a lot of women, unfortunately, run their mouths. So you're like, no, this ain't going to work. Can't deal with that. And just be honest, last time we only seen you, it's been on shows. It's
Rochelle always comes with something different. I don't question single men because I'm a happy single woman with no mystery. I guess that's her way of telling us move on.
Hey, should we be reading in the Rosso a little more?
Yes, but we do read it to her.
Let's find out. You know, she be saying some questionable things sometimes.
We have read into her.
We gotta talk about Rosso a little bit more. Hold on. You got an interesting life you ever lived. You need to come up and talk about it. You need to
have. Her, we know about the moving company. We know she have no problem talking to the exes. We know.
What? Yes, she friends with exes. What?
Right.
You know, that tells me two things. Either it ain't what it seems, or she knows how to set boundaries.
Or she just don't care.
Boundaries. Well, first of all, I think that's apparent. You gotta have a little bit. I don't really give a, say the role that you roll.
But then that means,
because I kind of have the same mentality. First of all, I don't give a F what y'all think about it anyway. It's how I live my life.
But that's the spice, Trey. That's the spice.
I like spice.
And I don't see the spice with Freddie. I see wet rag.
Really?
Yes.
Well, yes. I don't think he's a spicy dude at all. You know what I'm saying? First of all, y'all stop putting. I ain't coming from Rosso. I find her very intriguing. I want to know more about her, just like we want to know about Freddie.
Right.
But maybe we might need to mind our business. That's my point.
Right. I think it'll be safer finding out more about Freddie. Rochelle gonna take us down a rabbit hole. She might take us down a rabbit hole that we may not be able to escape from. Okay.
Alice in Wonderland.
There you go. So since we just did season 1, let's go to the most recent season 2. Season 2 for UK, because that just happened a few months ago. Okay. These are the couples from season 2. And Patrick and Anu did not make it out of the pods, but he talked to his spleen. And Anu had the "you're liar." So that's why I put them up there, because they were of some significance. They didn't get engaged, but they were of some significance here. We had Billy and there you go. Billy and Ashley. Y'all know she was a flight attendant or flight crew. He's the military man that liked the plain mince with regular rice and no seasoning or nothing. And Ashley want that snack bin. Okay. Sarova and Cal. Remember, Cal was into fitness, and his family is from Pakistan. Sarova's family is from India. That we had good conversations about the conflict that may arise, but her family was okay. They did get married, but those two men decided to go with the same playbook and divorce like 3 months after the fact.
Yeah, they played that together. They definitely playing that together.
Right. Barthar and Jed, we don't understand what happened. Jed's still out here. Huh?
Barthar's ridiculous. We know what's going on. She's ridiculous. Okay.
She played that man.
Yes. Straight up.
Barthar, Jed allowed Barthar to come and live with him. He has his house prepared for his wife. And 2 months later, she doesn't say, "Hey, I got a job offer. I don't want you no more. I'm going to Dubai." But she, told us a story that his ex was at the gym, and he's like, "It's the only gym in town." So of course everybody is at the gym. But we smell something fishy, because she keep on digging on Jed and talking bad about him and wild about him. And Jed has said nothing about this lady.
Because of cover for herself. Listen. I find it all the more interesting when the man is quiet. That means he knows ish. Okay. And if you notice, she's being very particular what she does talk about him for.
Right.
She goes in, but she don't go like she doesn't. She goes to a certain point, right? She goes right up to the point that she would say something that would tear down his character, because she knows she can't touch his character. So right. I'm like, I just find it very interesting. Nah, he done seen some ish. He knows some ish, and he was like, "Listen, Keep playing me if you want to. You know, because she tried to gaslight us. Like, look, wait a minute. She was trying to get us to turn on him, but when you look at some of the facts of how certain things happen, I'm like, hold on, Barter. No, it just made me have more questions for you. Good. That whole job situation. Nah, you can't. I think she had that job secured before she even started filming that show.
I think so too. And she went as far as to say that Jed wanted the show for clout and, you know, for clout chasing. And Jed ain't even on the internet like that.
Not even a little bit.
Not even. But going on to that, we had Javine and Katisha. I remember Katisha had Demola, you know, in the pods. And you know, Demola certainly lucked out not going there. That's where Katisha's the reason why Trey y'all came out with that whole Big Bird thing, okay?
She Big Bird.
And I forgot Sophie. I forgot her picture there, but Sophie, you know, was pulling in Javin at the end with the whole photo booth scandal. And then, of course, we have Megan and Kieran. Kieran was also a love interest of Sophie in the pods. And Megan and Kieran are the only ones that actually said yes on decision day and stayed together. Okay, they're still together. They're doing their cutesy videos online. I think they are more an influencer couple, but hey, this was what just happened this past summer in the UK. What were your thoughts on the rest of them, Trey?
I knew it, Patrick. We were so glad that didn't go anywhere. Because, this dude weird, talking about his spleen and everything. Like, bro, what cult are you a part of, and why are you trying to bring this woman with you? Get out of here, okay? Only to find out that he has some kids on the way, too. Yeah, the fat, so it's like, all right, bro. All right, get out of here. I kind of wish Anu did find a match with somebody else, they tried to like put her with the Mola past tense, but I guess that was just, you know what I think happened right there for some odd reason, because of this whole Katisha and Jarvis situation, all the ladies was there with them watching this whole debacle. What did Katisha say to those ladies about these two men? Because for all case in point, Demola was liked. Anybody like, no one disliked him at all. No, none of the women disliked him. But they knew he was into Katisha. But when everything started going down, it looked like Demola was one pouring his heart out, looking a bit simpish. Just keep it real. Looking a bit simpish. And here you got Javin over here playing it like a super player should. And guess who won? The super player. Without even really committing to anything, which is the craziest part.
Not committed at all. Not really committed. He ain't committed at all.
He never committed to it, if you notice. He never did.
No.
Never.
She was chasing him.
Yes.
And he tripped and got caught.
Chasing him hard.
And then here's the thing. Javin, when he was starting to hear a lot of the story about how it happened with Katisha, because Demola never said, okay? Yeah. Demola never said. And then Javin is like, Katisha, don't you think you should go and apologize to Demola? And she was like, for what?
I think that's what, honestly speaking, for real, be honest about this. I think that is what turned Javin off about Katisha. Because, like, in the men's lounge, if you notice, the guys, they might talk to each other, but they don't talk in detail about what's going on in their relationships with and speaking with, even if they're talking to the same chick. They kind of keep it very surface. So Javin didn't know that Katisha had told Demola that he was the one and didn't change the mind. He found out after the fact. And it was ever since he found out, because he was also cool with Demola too, even though, they try to play like they weren't cool in the pods. If you hear them talk about each other, it was like, no, they were actually cool in the pods. They talked to each other. It was the show tried to make it look like they was at odds or whatever. But actually, they were cool. So I kind of got a feeling after he found out how you treated him, listen, I have done this too. how you treat people will make me look at you differently.
Yes.
That's just real talk. Like if I know this is a good dude and you treat him a certain type of way, kind of disrespectful, whatever, yeah, I'm looking at you a little funny. Even if I'm talking to you now, I'm looking at you a little bit funny.
Yep.
Like, dang, how you treat that guy? I expect it to be done to me as well. If I mistreat some woman, some lady, or whatnot, whatever, in a certain manner, now I'm sitting here trying to talk to you, and you hear me, you hear about it, and I mistreated her. Yeah, I can't get mad if you look at me differently. I can't get mad at that.
Do you think that Javin kind of looked at her kind of like different with that whole you may need to apologize to Demola after like everybody met up in Cyprus, Greece, after like Cal came at he didn't
Yeah,
come at her very, like that, but I'm gonna say he came at
like
her.
I said, he
He
didn't know. He found
right.
out during that trip that it
Yes.
was like that. And then, remember she was kind of scrambling for I don't think I should. What happened would have happened, this and that third. And I remember him sitting there. He kind of looked at her like, wait a minute. You told him that it was a yes for him, but did it? Wait a minute. Yeah, it's gonna make you pause. Like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on here? You told him that it was a yes for you. You was riding with him. Yeah, I didn't know, so I'm just continuing on how I'm continuing on. But yeah, it was messy.
Yes, it was very messy. It was messy, including the photo booth scandal
Oh
where
God,
Javin with Sophie that he was the curtain was closed when he was in the photo booth, and then
it
at
was
the reunion there was no
cool.
curtain at all.
Yeah,
So
it was.
that created a whole issue between him, Megan, and Kieran.
They the Malala. Okay, they tried to put 10 on 2 with that whole situation. For the moment they tried to say what happened, remember that happened on the show? I was like, I don't know. I feel suspect about this whole situation. This is suspect, but this is sus. This whole situation seems sus, especially when Javin was trying to talk to what's her name? I forgot that quick. Megan and Kieran about it when he confronted her. And I remember I said, I was like, I find it interesting that Kieran really wasn't backing his woman like that. He just kind of was like, I didn't really see anything. I didn't really see that. So I don't know. He
That's a
didn't
man that
start,
wants to get married, Trey. That man wants to get married.
but you notice he didn't actually start backing the whole situation until they got to the reunion talking about it.
Yeah.
That's when he started to speak up. I was like, nah, bro, nah, you ain't fooling me. I know what it is.
But here's my thing. We had our Western world thinking, photo booths out here, y'all. We got to squeeze together. That was a pretty large photo booth when we saw the
Yeah,
photo.
it was huge.
I mean, that was probably a 4x4 room. It had room, y'all. It had room in that photo booth for at least 8 to 10 people.
And you got to talk about that too. Megan and Javin went far in the pause, which was interesting, to
Yes.
say the least. I find
They were
everything was very interesting. You start finding out who was talking to who and for how long.
right. Megan had to decide between Kieran and Javin in the pods.
Yeah.
And
And then,
Javin had Katisha because he said Megan eventually chose Kieran. So again, because we don't know all of that intricate stuff while we're watching it, we're wondering where's this heat coming from?
yeah. And let's not forget, the whole time, they tried to make it seem like Javin was talking to the rest of the girls, but the girls was kind of being real chummy with him too. While he's
Yes.
supposed to be a teacher. I was like, okay,
Flirty,
nah.
flirty.
It was, yeah.
But you see, production would have been way better if they did show us Megan and Javin, because then when all the couples came together, we would have finally had someone where we like, oh, what is it going to be when they finally meet up? We always had that except for this season.
I think where they had it, but it was in reverse because they had Kieran and Sophie, remember? That was their triangle that they was trying to
Yeah,
push.
but we usually have a mixer at the vacation, and Sophie wasn't coming to the vacation.
True.
So I would have loved to have seen the triangle with Javine and Megan, include Kieran stuff. Give us an extra episode to show us all that, so we know that when all the couples come together, ooh, Javin and Megan finally gonna be in the same room. What's that gonna be like?
You know what it is? It probably, however they were talking in the pies, I bet you it was a lot more straightforward, and
Probably
it felt like it wasn't enough spice to be put on the.
romance. Yeah.
Like, oh, pop off with. They probably got along super well together, had similar interests. Actually, if you think about it, I can see them getting along in the pies.
Yeah, they would.
I can see it. So they probably, get along with that, whatever. There was attraction there, but they both had other situations going on that was a little stronger and
Yes.
whatnot. Because even thing with Kieran, listen, honestly, if Sophie would have played her cards better, it would have been him and Sophie, Kieran and
Yes.
Sophie instead of Megan.
Yes.
Flat out. But she fumbled that herself. She fumbled that.
She did. But y'all, this was recent. So Trey, where would you like to go next? Because y'all, we still got a few.
So I've been choosing, but you choose one.
Oh, you want me to choose? I'm trying to be polite to my guest. Let me choose my favorite. My favorite, Habibi.
I didn't watch Habibi that much.
Oh, daggone it. Y'all, if you have missed Habibi, you have missed a lot. Okay, so these are the couples that ended up actually going on vacation. You see, they ended up with 6. But here's one. Okay, let me start from the top. Amar and Karma. Amar is a dentist. Karma is definitely, she was more the arts. She was coming into her own and coming into who she was as a woman, and she loved to dance and do her folk dancing. Now Amar was saying he wants his woman to be more conservative, so he was not too much in favor of her dancing at all. Okay, now Karma always had a fan for every outfit. That was her signature on the show. So if you are watching for style, Karma was it. Yes, the other girls were stylish, but Karma always had a fan to go with it. While Amar is telling his woman, I don't want you dancing and shaking a tail feather, even though it's respectfully and part of our culture, the dances, he was out here in Speedos on the beach and doing the whole camera thing while washing his hair at the beach shower, which we thought was very much, and the audience called him out on it. Okay. But they broke up when they came back from the vacation because she didn't want to be limited. And he was like, yeah, you ain't going to be my woman. Now, Dunya and Shafiq, they were the youngest couple. Dunya, very, very wholesome young lady. Now, what I learned with Dunya, and I learned a lot in this cast, Dunya's mother and father divorced early. I really didn't think, and they're from different areas of the whole Arab culture, y'all. These people are from, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, all different places, Morocco. Dunya's family is from Morocco, and they're all living in Dubai. So Dunya, I was like, your mother raised you and your sister by herself. I cannot imagine in that culture a woman raising other women by themselves. But Dunya is an influencer. And Shafiq, another young man, I know his family long-standing in trade, of goods and stuff from Africa and the Arab countries. So his family is very well off. They were a very cute couple, but he wanted more traditional. She was not going to be as traditional. They lasted a long time past the show. They did not get married on the show, but they lasted a good year after the show, and they broke up, unfortunately. Muhammad and Safa. Safa, y'all, if y'all don't see anything, I need y'all to see the women's night, because their bachelor parties and their women's bachelorette parties different. It highlights their culture. It highlights all the blessings a woman is supposed to have. The mirror, why they give her a taste of sugar, why they bathe her feet in lavender. When I tell you that woman's night, I learned a lot about all the mamas were there to pay homage to this woman as she comes to age to have her own family, total, totally beautiful in the desert sands. They highlighted every country and culture. But Safa and Muhammad were the only ones to actually get married and are still married today. We were kind of panicked by Muhammad because he's very much a traditional man, and she had a job that caused her to travel like 3 days a week, and she loved it. But they have made it work, and he said he did. He showed up at the door. We are given the pleasure of seeing him and his dad show up at the door to present his son Muhammad as a potential spouse to her family. Her brother is the man of the house, the man of the family, since her father passed away many years ago. So we had a great look into the traditions of how a man and his father would come and present him as a groom, and how the contract is done, what happens with the wedding ceremony, and then they go before their, their sheik after, they say their vows, they go upstairs, they sign the marriage contracts, the men sign, and then she signs. They gave us a great glimpse into everything. Now, Asma and Kitab. Kitab is not as heavy set as he is here, but he's lost a lot of weight, but he worked a lot. Asma really didn't like him when they met. They did not go on holiday. She went home for a couple days and said, you know what, I need to give this a try. So they ended up at the holiday a few days later. Now, when I say holiday, y'all, this is the only one where they could not cohabitate. There's a women's section of the hotel and there's a men's section of the hotel. So everybody met up for breakfast and meals. But when it's time to go to bed at night, you go to your side, I go to my side.
Is that because of the religious culture?
Okay. Yes.
Interesting.
Very interesting, because they do tell you all about that. That's also where I learned where bagpipes came from Egypt. They taught me a lot about culture and history in this one. But Kitab and Asma, they did make it all the way to a wedding, but they did not get married. Her family, and a lot of them, the families coming from Canada to Dubai, so couldn't make it, and they wanted to take their time. They took their time. Couldn't happen. They're still great friends. She's actually a fitness person and helped him on his weight loss journey, the way they said it. Now, Haja and Simo, that's the drama. Okay, that's one of the dramas. Haja and Simo. Simo is very arrogant male, very machismo. Okay, and Haja is, you need to take care of me. All these ladies know the man is the provider because that is their culture. Okay, you have to provide for me the same way my daddy and my brothers and my uncle provide for me. Haja told Simo that my greatest thing is I have a fear of being abandoned and left alone. Simo was upset with her because he got into an argument with Shafiq. And I think he got into an argument because I think Simo really liked Dunya and how she behaves as a more wholesome young lady. And Haja is more the chic young lady. She gonna spend that pocket. Okay? But they had an argument. He didn't like that she just sat there and watched the whole fight and she didn't come rub his back. And he was mad and da-da-da. And she's like, yeah, whatever. He left her. He left her at the vacation and went home. She didn't know until production had to come tell her on her interview, Simo's not coming for breakfast.
Oh, because they're separate living. Yeah.
Right. Simo's not coming for breakfast.
Damn.
And you could see her face crumble. Now, there was a lost in translation moment they had in the pods where he flipped on her about, she said for Bachelorette, she wanted to go to Miami to eat cake. I know some of the people from that region who said it could be one, it's a very strict diet and she was going against the diet, or two, they were using cake as a euphemism for something else that wasn't very much, understood. And that's why Simo probably flipped out on her about that whole cake reference. But they did not work out. Again, yes, men and women need to be in separate places unless they're married or family members. Yes. And if you are going to some of those regions and you are married, like we were, my husband and I were told, you need to come with your marriage certificate to prove it. Even though your passports may have your same last name, you need to prove through marriage. So the other one was Mido and Noor. Now, Noir is, if you see her, she's very much a Kardashian princess like. Okay? Very much. Very soft spoken, though. Very quiet. She has like 5 degrees, knows about 6 different languages. That's where she trip you up. All you see in a supermodel, but she's actually a very well educated young lady. But she demands that her man be a man and take care of her like her daddy would. Mito, I don't think his pockets were that long. It wasn't short. He had long pockets, but it ain't as long as Noir required. So they would meet up, and she would treat him like, I'm just here so I don't get fined. And he eventually is like, I don't want to be here with no woman who treats me like this. And so he did meet with her and did tell her he don't want to be with her anymore. And they left. He left and she left the whole experience. The trick is that after all the infighting, and they had some fighting at their reunion. If you thought their reunion wasn't spicy, the host and hostess had to tell them this is not decorum. They had to stop the reunion and say, this is not decorum. You all need to learn to behave. Well, lo and behold, later on, Shafiq and Noir dated for a while, y'all. And if y'all saw this, Shafiq was talking about women like Noir really terribly. Then come to find out they were dating later on. But I had liked this because of the cultural aspect and all these folks from different regions. I learned some of them did not speak Arabic. They only spoke French. Some of them, again, they are from different regions and areas that I was like fascinated by all that I learned. The men, why they did a Turkish bath, why they had the dances and bagpipes. I learned a lot from this, and its ties to not just the Arab culture and world, but its ties to Africa. So if you have not seen Love is Blind Habibi and you're looking for one to look at, yes, please give it a chance. Munira, yes, if they were together before marriage, there can be no evidence of that. But no, I would say definitely give it a chance. It was one of my favorites to recap and review because I had a lot of stuff. There was food. There's a Moroccan dress with a hoodie that I told my husband, I said, I need one of those. I would wear that every day. Every day. It's almost like a house coat with a hoodie, but it had extravagant sleeves and stuff, and it was considered respectable Moroccan outfit out in public for the women to wear. Loved this season. But you didn't see none of it?
Nah, I always wanted to get into it, but I just never started it. And I was like, I should start. I just didn't do it.
Dang. Well,
I feel like I should have, though. Is there another season coming up pretty soon? They're going to have part 2.
They're supposed to have another season coming up in 2026. It took forever for them to even have a reunion. The reunion took we usually see it about 2 weeks later or a week later. This one took a month after the show was done for us to get a reunion out.
Why was it a month later?
I think too, because all these folks also travel around the region. As I said, Safa also had her job. Asma and Hatab, they traveled between Canada, there, and other countries in the region. So to get everybody back together, I think that's all I'm thinking. But people thought they didn't want to come together either. But they had drama, y'all. They had drama.
They filmed their reunion immediately after the show, not months later.
No. It had to be weeks after. After it even aired, they filmed the reunion. But they had fashion, y'all. And I was like suspect that some of these girls had on short skirts. They had cleavage showing. I was a little bit skeptical. But it was very, very interesting about the region. And again, its ties to Africa. I was very, very much amazed and learned so much about it. But you need to get with that one. So let's go to the one where you know more about, and I don't because I barely watched this. So take it away, Trey.
Well, folks, I don't know. I'm gonna try to do my best to lead this, but let's just start with this one. This is probably the best Love is Blind show that will ever exist, and we may never get a second season of it because it was done so positively with as minimum, even though it had drama, as minimum drama as possible because of the culture that they live in. But yes, Love is Blind Japan, how the show is set up, Japan showed you exactly how it's supposed to go. Now they had some successes, they had some failures as well. But let's try to go. Also, if you notice, when you try to look at couples on this show, it's hard to find the couples list on it, which is kind of weird. I'm like, it's kind of weird that how they did this show. It was too positive. That's why it was literally too positive. Because I don't know if this may come off as a negative, but it's not. We actually had a show full of wheels from maths. And what I mean by that, everyone was logical and in control of their emotions when they spoke to one another. Their classification of an argument was a conversation for us. It was just kind of funny. I'm talking about this with one particular couple. They were arguing a lot, but when you look at the argument, I'm like, are they arguing? What's going on? But they were arguing. But it'd be like, production got to the point they were like, oh my God. They even got tired of it because they were filming them for 2 hours having a conversation about their differences or what they was arguing about. That's a long time to be filming some couple arguing. But let's get to it. Like one of the first couples was Odachi and Nanako. Okay? They were kind of the early favorites of the season because they got together pretty quickly. They went ahead and they seemed to be working out okay. They seem to have their own work-related goals, aspirations, and what they wanted to do, but they both just kind of stayed headstrong in what they wanted, and it seemed to go well to the point that even Nanako was making jokes like, she got a heat stroke from having a long conversation with Odachi. She was having a heat stroke. That's how long they talked in the pods. I think they may have the record for the longest conversation in the pods. I think they said they talked in the pods for like 6 hours straight. Like that's yeah. They were just talking. They were chatting. As kids say today, they were chatting. They were chatting hard. But like I said, they got proposed early on in the series, and when they met face to face, everything seemed to go pretty good. They liked each other, they were attracted, and they went on a little trip afterwards. Now, this is where things get a little interesting. Their issue was Adachi mainly, but both of them, they worked too much. Nanako started to complain behind the scenes that Odachi was more focused on his work and his laptop than building their relationship with one another. And even he got to the point where he started to realize it. He had a tearful confession that the behavior that was ongoing problem of his after she finally confronted him about it. So he's basically started breaking down crime. Was like, oh my God, I've always had this issue with every woman that he's pretty much been with. He was a workaholic. He could not find the time to stop working to put time into a relationship. I mean, it was kind of weird. He tearing up and everything, like, oh my God, I'll let you know. I was like, what's okay? Which it was interesting because that is a part of the culture. Hard work. Everyone works. Like work, ambitious, work. It's almost like if you don't have any if you don't have any, no matter what you do, if you don't have any accomplishments, you're kind of looked at as less than, especially within that Japanese culture, or a waste of, and they would treat you as such, like you are wasting away what you're doing. You could be a school bus driver; it doesn't matter. At least have some accomplishments of being the head school bus driver or something. You got to get to it. So to have a man break down, realizing that because he works so much, it's costing him relationships, and genuinely crying. It wasn't a put on. He was like, "Oh my God," when she confronted him about it, he was like, "Oh my God, this is a pattern. This is happening. I need to fix this. Oh my God, what have I done?" But eventually, they split up. And Nanako was actually a ballet teacher. She was in the ballet, so she kind of went back to that. And Adachi, he kind of switched over and he started working as a comedian. Well, he was the comedian. He was a professional comedian, which is very strange to be in the Japanese culture. They don't have a comedian. Japanese and Chinese culture, they don't have comedians at all. Like it's only recently that it's become more of a viable thing, comedy shows, whatever. But it kind of doesn't exist in that culture. So he was already an outlier with him being a professional comedian, but he was so busy writing jokes on his laptops and setting up venues or whatever. He was just like laser focused on that, and it kind of left Nanako like, I don't know if he's in this. I like him, but does he like me? It left her in a bad spot mentally. But that happened between them. Now, a successful couple was Ryotaro and Motomi. Now, they're still married to this day, going strong, and actually have a child together. I think a son. I think they wanted with the son. So this seemed to be going well, but that was a very interesting couple because he was a hairstylist, which is different. He was a professional, a very well professionally paid hairstylist. He was in the industry. He worked well. He did okay. Yeah, I might be killing the names. Hey, but, but I'm trying to get it out. But yes, Motomi had a lot of different men that she was interested in the pods or whatever. She was very popular. People liked her a lot. But it was Rio. I'm just calling him Rio. It was Rio that was the one that she had the most spark with it. And they finally, I think what moved her was he had wrote her some handwritten letters that was very special to her and whatnot. And I think that's what really won her over. He was more sensitive than the rest and whatnot. So he proposed. She said yes. Now they were a little rocky going along a little bit. It was a little rocky in the beginning, but after that face to face, she was all with him. Now what threw her off was he had blonde hair when he first showed up. Yes, when he first showed up for the face-to-face, he had dyed his hair blonde. He's a hairstylist, this kind of style, whatever. He dyed his hair blonde. That threw her off because that's not a thing in China to do. She thought he was a delinquent or something. When she showed up, she's like, "Oh my God, who is this person?" Because usually you will only get people like, he might be like what she actually said. She thought that maybe he was like one of the young boys that have worked in Yakuza, because they kind of do those things, dye their hair different colors and stuff like that. She was a little worried, but really her worries was her family's reaction, because her family was very extremely traditional. So she was extremely worried about how things would go when they met. And it was when I remember when he met her father, I saw the look on her father's face. He kind of looked like, who is this blonde? Well, it was first, before she even met his father, she was asking him, would it be okay for him to dye his hair black, back black before she met his dad. That's how worried she was about meeting her father. And I think he actually did for that day, whatever. He decided to dye his hair back black. and whatnot. So you can be her father. So he was, yeah, black is kind of weird. He was trying. It was weird. He was. You could tell he was he understood, but you could tell he kind of felt the way because he was like, "This is who I am," and I want you to accept me for who I am.
And this is before Squid Games.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Letitia, this is before Squid Games, so okay.
Yeah, but it worked out okay. The father eventually, accepted him, and he was like, okay, he knew his daughter. He raised her well, so she made sound decisions. I know that was a big thing for dad. Like, I've raised my daughter to make sound decisions, so she choose you. I'm gonna trust that she made a sound decision in choosing you and whatnot. And yeah, they stayed together. They're still together to this day. Had a beautiful son. Everything seems to be going well between them two. You know. So the next couple we gotta talk about is Morai, and I know I'm a mess his name, but Minami. I think it's Minami. Yeah, Minami. They couldn't make it work. It was very weird for them. Since the very beginning. When I first saw them, I was like, I don't know how in the world they are actually connected with one another. It seemed to be too different. But a lot of their issues, when they met, there was an attraction, so that helped a lot. Even when they went on the trip together, everything seemed fine, whatnot. And they really had no issues. So I was like, okay, maybe this can work. It didn't get bad until they actually moved into the apartment together, and they both agreed that it wouldn't work. This is the couple that had these tearful arguments and hour-long discussions about how they were different and how this wasn't working. They were both crying. They was getting in arguments, and this is how the argument go. And I'm speaking in English, but this is the tone of it. I feel like you're not paying enough attention to me, or it seems like you're not all the way invested in this relationship, and this is making me sad. I don't know. I like you, but it seems like we have different opinions on things. I don't know if this worked, but I don't know. I just wanted to work so badly.
No bass in the voice. No bass in your voice.
Well, he had a deep voice, actually, so it kind of sounded like, but it was monotone. It was one level. It just stayed one level the entire time. But they were both crying about it. That's the thing that was tripping me out. They were crying about it. He's like, I really wanted to make it work for you so bad. But it's just, I don't know if we can get past some of our differences of how we want things to be. He said, are you sure this would work? Well, maybe we try these things. Okay, I'm willing to try. And they'll try. But it just didn't work. Like I said, even the production, even the production was counting the hours and how long they were talking to one another. To the point they was like, hey, we gotta end our footage for the day. It's good because this is too much. Like, you felt drained watching it through the television. And not drained that it was boring you. It was so draining, like, oh my God. They're trying, but it's just not working. Let it go. But you also dealing with a culture that having a sense of failure is worse than anything else. It's almost like bringing dishonor to your family and whatnot. No, you gotta make sure that before you leave something, you tried everything that you could. They gotta try. And they did, but it was one of those things that y'all just need to let it go. And it finally did. They finally had one last long discussion about how they was going to break up. It's going to lead this, and the disappointment of it all. I was like, oh my God. But they seem to be doing well post everything or not. Actually, they did try to reconnect. Now, here's the thing about them. if I'm correct, I was reading something.
Which couple was this?
This was Morai and
Oh,
uh
okay.
Manami. I think Morai, he actually he actually got he actually got together with another member from the Paz named uh Aono. He started dating Aono after everything was said and done with him and Maturi, whatever her name is. So the two of them got reconnected and started dating after the end of filming, and they got married just last year in 2024. So it's another success story just with different people. Now I remember Teo, she wasn't in running, but it just they just never got past a full connection in the pies and with Mateo, but Mateo, what? Mateo, but Mina Mateo, however you say her name, I'm butchering her name. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But moving on now, Wateroo and Medora. Oh boy, these two, they had the drama of it all. They were the drama couple. Medora was attracted to Wateroo the most in the pies because she was kind of chasing him. Wateroo was just kind of, I like you, but because he kind of had other connections too. I think Waterloo was also probably the most successful, quote unquote, out of the men on the enterprise as well. He was an executive at this corporation and whatnot. So and so was she. So she kind of matched him, but he was like kind of big guy on campus. And he kind of acted like it. He was, he was chill and was kind of taking it all in. Now how Midori won was very interesting. She actually put together a presentation about why they should get engaged. Like she made a whole graph board and everything, sent it to his pod, and went in his pod and explained to him why they should get married. We have this, we get along this way, we match each other in this way. You should love me. Uh-oh. I am so sorry. You should match me. You should match me. So I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. She made a whole, without the PowerPoint, she made a whole presentation about how we should be together. Now the funny thing was there was a flip. After they got past the first stage of the honeymoon and all that stuff, all of a sudden there was a flip. Waterloo was the one that went head first into trying to get married to her. Medora was the one that started expressing doubts, which was so strange. I was like, okay, wait a minute. You chased him hard down in the pies. Now you're outside the pies. All of a sudden you ain't feeling him? It was weird. Now, when they met, I could tell that he was a little bit more attracted to her. So that probably, but they did. No one blinked their eye at her making that presentation. So I guess nobody saw this Thursday. And you're right. Yes, he wasn't her style and looks. That's what happened. When they met in person, he liked her because she was cute. I remember
the PowerPoint.
I guess waste of PowerPoint. The funny thing, it got to the point where Waterloo even proposed a second time while they were living together in their apartment. He proposed again. And then she told him she admitted not being 100% sure about the marriage, even though she accepted his ring. We thought things were going to be pretty solid there all the way up to wedding day. It seemed like it was, but we was always unsure about if Medora would commit. Now, happily the pair, they married on the show. And I think that was the other couple that stayed together as well.
Yeah, so they have a daughter.
They're the ones that had a daughter and everything. So
Wouldn't it be
And it worked
wild
out.
if the other couple's son and this couple's daughter got together later on in life?
I think they're planning that.
Lord Jesus, no.
No, the couples themselves that they've been seen together doing photos with each other's kids and whatnot, whatever. I think they're planning a hostile takeover for the future. Our families will wed. Listen, this in the Japanese culture, it's not out of the norm to see arranged marriages with three families. So
This young.
yeah, they start as kids.
I
It's
understand. That's what I'm saying. This young. I understand.
absolutely
I'm not dissuading. I'm just saying. That's why I said it will be wild because for us we wouldn't even think about this.
yeah. In Western society, we would not. Eastern,
No.
it's a bit different. Like past Egypt on over, yeah, it's going to be a little different. It'll be, arranged marriages is pretty much the norm.
So what was your favorite part of Japan? Other than the
My
discussions. Other than the discussions with no
my
elevation in the voice.
my that was just funny to me. My favorite part was how all the couples handled one another and how production chose to film it. You could tell it seemed like they made a conscious effort not to search for the drama of it all, even though there was plenty of drama that was being had, especially with one particular couple, Misaki and Priya. Oh, this couple. Now, Priya was the hot chick of the show. She was fine. She was fine. Okay. And she was a very ambitious woman. And she had her own businesses. And she said she needed an ambitious man. Now, Misaki, let's just keep it real. He was a fronter. He fronted on her, saying that he had this and that going on, and I got this business and
Oh,
all
he
this
is a
stuff.
liar.
Oh man, he was a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. But I will say how she outed him was probably the most respectful I've ever seen it happen on a Love Is Blind show, even in a reality show. Period. She first expressed her issues when she noticed that when she was saying what type of things she had going on. I got this going on this week, this, that, third, whatever. First, he would seem to be down, or he would get distant from her. Like he didn't want to congratulate her on accomplishments. Then when she would ask him what he had going on, what's going on with him, that's when he started to get a little dodgy. So it started to have her to have questions about what's going on. But how she expressed it was in her confessions, she said that she expressed concern that he had painted himself to be more ambitious than he really was. That's how she said it. I was like, what does that even mean? Then what happened was Priya learned that McKenzie was not the owner of his business like he said he was. That's what did it. Because if I'm remembering correctly, he was supposed to have been the owner of this noodle shop. His own owner of this noodle shop that was actually very popular in the area where it was at. It was supposed to be like this infused noodle shop with different stuff or whatever. It was a cool design. They even went to the noodle shop. Looked nice. It looked great. I was like, okay, got something going on. But then you come to find out that actually he wasn't the owner. He was just an employee.
So just a little research.
He was just an employee. And actually, he was like the manager, but the actual owner, kind of allowed him to be, since he was like, it seemed like a situation where you had the actual owner, but he was kind of very silent in the background, and he was allowing him to promote the business, lead the business, this, that, third. Mainly, he was the manager, But like I said, he presented himself like I own this business, and they kind of find out he owned jack shit. He owned nothing. It was like, wait,
And
what?
culturally, how do they handle lies?
Not good at all. Ultimate dishonor. The way there was, even I was taken aback a little bit. The way they was reacting to him on the show, her, the rest of the cast when they found out, even even production, how they was talking to him, you would think he committed genocide or something. Like he was a pariah. He immediately turned into a pariah. You know, but even with that, it was done in the utmost respect. You know, and they didn't really yell at him. They just busted him out. You proving not to own the shop. What do you have to say to this? And it was very stern how they said it. You proving that you don't own the shop. What do you have to say to this? I was like, wait a minute. And then Priya came behind him, was like, and gave him, sat down with him and gave him a kind of point by point of why this is not going to work.
Another PowerPoint.
Almost. You proved yourself to be this, and this is not it. I'm going to have to leave the situation because this is not what I asked for.
I don't think any woman would want to marry him after seeing the show.
Listen, woo. Matter of fact, guess what? He lives in Australia now.
I knew it. He had to leave the country.
The man had to get out the country. Okay, let that sink in. All right. This is a culture. This is a world where if you lose your self-respect, it is felt all throughout. Okay? It's almost like if this is back in the day for us, but if you from the streets, whatever, if you prove to be a snitch, you are done for the rest of your life. Nowadays, all of a sudden, it's cool to be a snitch. It's crazy to me, but whatever. But there, nah. You lose this honor, you must leave. Okay? You are done. No one wants to deal with you. It would be hard to have a business. Because people are gonna look at you like, whoa, you false, you are a falsehood. It was bad for him. Yeah, the man had to move to Australia. It's crazy. Now, Priya, she's doing all right. She had a skincare brand. It's called Makumi Fun Time, but she kind of shifted her life, and now she's more of a life coach. She's a life coach now, for the most part. And I think she's still single and happy. But yeah, she was fine. I was like, bro, like she was definitely the chick that, yo, like you got something here. You got to find this chick that she actually about something, but you fumbled her bad because you lied about your own self. Like, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say about that.
Oh no. Rochelle, you may have to close it out and come back if it's not running smooth, because I have it running on the side and it's still smooth. Okay. So so he was actually from Australia originally. Okay. Oh, they had a lot of people from all over the world coming in. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All I know is that he moved back soon after out of there. He got up out of there. So we could say he went home, but the way they portrayed himself in the show, he was from Japan, a certain region. So hey, it is what it is. We did have some more Mikasa and Karu. I think that's his name.
Kaoru?
Kaoru. I think it's pronounced differently, but yeah, it's Kaoru. But they were together. They had potential. I think one was a baseball coach. The other one was a professional singer. And they seemed to go. It seemed, I don't know. They like talking about each other, talking about themselves, but they really didn't have nothing in common when they got to the day to day. And plus, there was in 2 different locations. She was always traveling. He was always going to be away. It seemed like they didn't have
schedule.
Yeah. Over time, it's just Karuk accused Mikasa of not really knowing much about her and not being interested in to find out more. So, yeah, it just kind of fizzled out. And it did seem like, if I remember, it did seem that way. He was, after he saw her, it was cool, but he never really got engaged with her afterwards. Like, really try to get to know somebody, whatever. He was just like, there.
I'm there not to get fined.
Basically. They actually had a lot of couples that proposed.
Yes.
Like it wasn't like the 5 or 6. There was like 9 of them, something like that. It was a bit ridiculous. I was like,
it was 8 of them.
Yeah. It was, Santoro and Ano. Ano was the other. Yeah, that's the chick that actually got with Maro afterwards. After the show.
Oh, okay.
Santeo he was probably the tallest Asian besides Yao Ming I ever seen. The dude was huge. Like he was almost 7 foot tall, so he was an abnormal. He was very abnormal and stuff that from being on the show. But they always struggled with each other from the very beginning. And yeah, she was interested. I think Santoro was also the oldest. He was 56. And I remember her being, she was 16 years younger than him.
Shintaro is 56 and a consultant, and Ayano is 30.
Yeah, so it was always seemed like a horror, a little bit of unmatched in a way. I don't even know how they really.
How'd you get a 56-year-old on here?
For an Asian guy, that was different. Well, he was kind of different either. He was very aloof. He gave.
Yeah, but most of the cast is in their 30s. How do you stick in a 56-year-old man?
He was weird. He didn't. When you saw him, he didn't give 56. I ain't gonna lie. I thought he was like his late 30s. So I was like, he's 56. I ain't knew he was that old. He didn't look old. He looked really good for his age. So I thought that was a little bit strange. But he was like very aloof and almost like a Buddhist to a certain extent, whatever. He's and very set in his ways. So it was like
you have a few of those coming up in some other area, in some other countries.
Yes, very set in his ways.
Was there more with Japan? Because we got Germany, we got 2 of Germany, and we got Mexico.
We can keep moving. All I say is I thought it was very interesting that season, at least on the outset of it. At least I had no qualms that everybody took it seriously. There was no one on that show that I thought besides Homeboy lying about his job and everything. Him owning the business. Well, actually, I can still say that. Everybody that came on the show, I think they generally came on to maybe try and find somebody. If it didn't work out, the person they got paired with, they just found out they actually didn't like him as much as they thought. And it just kind of fizzled out. But at least when they came on, I never had a doubt like, okay, did this person here for clout? This person's here for that. Even the guy that was lying about his job, I think he generally wanted to find somebody, but he just misrepresented himself and what he had and what he had going on. But he genuinely wanted to find somebody. When he got Priya, I was like, you tell he was happy, but you can also tell like, okay, something off by him because he got Priya now. Now what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? She made it appear she wanted an ambitious man.
I mean, their sets were beautiful.
Yes, it looked great.
It looked absolutely beautiful, and I think for me, and it's before I even was doing these recaps and stuff, and when I was looking at it, as you said, the monotone kind of threw me.
Yeah.
It kind of threw me. I was like, I ain't gonna get the drama that I'm looking for. So it was like playing in the background while I'm cooking or playing in the background. So I'm not really paying attention to these folks,
The thing is, I've always heard this. Japan is still the place I want to visit the most. Like I want to visit
Oh heck
Japan
yeah! Oh
because
heck yeah!
I love the culture. I love samurai. I'm also in the cars. I love the car culture there. I just want to visit Japan. I love anime. I want to visit Japan. But I've also heard this about Japan. You're you are visiting a culture where a place where no one actually says what they mean. And it's
Mm.
everybody's ultra polite, even in their rudeness to you. It's
It's
gonna
more
be
genteel than the genteel South.
it's gonna be very polite.
Mm.
Even when they're turning you down. I'm so sorry. But we're going to say no. Like it's like, okay. Which I find fascinating.
So there's no throwing of the ring in the glass of water like Sylvia did with Revo.
You might get a drop. you might you might get a drop in the glass. Yeah, you actually I think that's what Sentaro actually did to Ale. Like he kind of like, no, I cannot do this. He put it down and walked away. Told her like, no, this is not going to work. You know, we're just too different. It did it so respectfully. She was upset, but she did it respectfully, and then walked away.
Like, thank you, but no thank you.
Bowed to her. And he was a tall dude. Looked like he couldn't bow that hard. He just kind of work.
Mac
Yeah,
Jagger
the
said
shrine.
he looked his age. That
He owned
56-year-old man looked his age.
He didn't to me. Well, he didn't look 56. I knew he was older, but I was still shocked when they said he's 56. I was like, excuse me? I gave him like 40s, early 40s maybe.
Okay. So just like a 10-year age gap from what would be the usual. Even that to me is a little wild, but I would, it's pushing it, especially since, people were 27 to like 35. To put somebody who's 56, that's a lot.
The man's family owned a shrine. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Owned a shrine.
Yeah.
So,
that is wild.
And she was a pretty young thing. She acted like it. So I that's where the age gap kind of came in. It was like, yo, he was definitely too mature for me, because there were times when she acted like a child. Sometimes she did act like a child for me. Asians don't raise it. That's funny.
He looked 60, 100%. Well, you know what? Y'all would agree to disagree. Thank you, Trey Mack. You had to lead that with Japan because I was not recapping it then and I wasn't paying attention. And I know you and Ari keep saying, oh my God, Japan, Japan, Japan. And, and now being here, I'll have to.
It's not for everybody.
I'll have to definitely try to pull it together to watch it at a downtime, and it's like, okay.
Like I said, I found it fascinating. That's what drew me in. I was like, what? Okay, this is so different from the culture you're usually used to. But especially when I'm like, oh my God, you can have a discussion or argument with somebody without having to yell at them. This is amazing. Positivity. Okay. Why can't we emulate this? Why we got to yell at each other?
Trey is going to Japan. I see it now.
Yeah, we got to visit there.
Trey, where would you like to go to next?
Let's go hit up them Sweden people.
Oh yes, I love my Swedes. Oh yes. Let's start with season 1. Y'all know me long time. Y'all know Sweden is it. Okay. Well, season 1, they didn't give me a whole lot as far as photos for me to be able to pull it, but I gave the names of the people that I knew, and I knew their stories. Okay. Here's the thing. Chrissy at the top was together with Rasmus. Sorry. Rasmus is the man. I keep telling y'all that he keeps saying your dog don't know how to behave. That's because you are not a proper dog owner. He told that to Chrissy. He said, look at my dog. She know how to behave. My dog know how to behave. Yours don't. You need to fix up. And the way he did it with her, I said, Chrissy, ain't no way this man is marrying you. Okay? Rasmus is not marrying Chrissy because how he felt about the dog, and he did not hold anything back. Chad was polite. Okay. Chad was polite. But Rasmus and Chrissy did get married, and by the 1 year or 2 year anniversary, they were expecting their own child, which was amazing for them. Now, Chrissy was also part of like PR and stuff like that, so she knew a bunch of folks there. Now, I forgot who Emilia was paired with. I think Emilia was paired with, was it Oscar or Lucas? I can't remember, but Amelia was a very vibrant young
Oscar.
lady.
I
Yeah,
think
I
it was
thought it was
Oscar.
Oscar. Yeah, Oscar. And she was very vibrant and stuff. And he was, like you said, Trey was like, yeah, this
Low
ain't gonna
key.
work for me.
Yeah, he was low key. He was too laid back. She was too fiery. That's what the issue was. She was
Yes.
too fiery. He was too laid back.
Another laid back was Christopher and Katja. It was Lucas. Okay. Was it Lucas? I couldn't remember. I didn't go that far back with Sweden. Christopher with, oh God,
Oh,
Cat. Um, I always say her name wrong, so I'll say Cat. Now that was the one that she left him and left the ring in the apartment.
yeah.
Ooh, child. And he's a very laid back. He was wearing pearls. He was wearing again, y'all talk about the men where they wearing their pearls. And I'm sorry, Christopher, he would wear double strand, triple strand pearls. Okay. I think he was a DJ of some kind. But he was very much in the arts. I liked him, but she wanted a more robust person in her life. Now, the fiery one, Ade and Lucas and Oscar, yeah, whatever. Sergio, y'all. Sergio was paired with Amanda. Sergio was where the fire resides. Okay. Sergio and Amanda came at reunion big belly pregnant. That's where the Lachey's were always jealous of the other locations, because Sweden, somebody always big pregnant about the pop at the reunion. That's a year later. So Sergio is with Amanda, but not only that, word came through the grapevine while on the show that Sergio had a child with another woman. Okay, and the child was young, but the other woman didn't want nothing to do with the show or whatever. But they found out Sergio had a bambino in another country. When he lived for a few years in Spain, another lady ended up having his child. And Amanda, being the saint that she is, I still think that woman is a saint. She, took him as he was, because he didn't know till later on that this woman had his child. He didn't know till after the child was born. So he's navigating this like right before the show. And then he gets to the show. Huh?
Talking Sergio, right?
Yeah, Sergio.
Yeah.
And then here we are too. Amanda is big pregnant, and he also is looking at Chrissy, because Chrissy is part of like PR and stuff that found out and was going to put the stuff out there. And they were contentious even on their second reunion years later before season 2. Okay. But yes, Amanda did marry him. They did have a second marriage. They did end up having a child together, a wonderful baby boy, and their families are loving it. And they are co-parenting with this lady that's in Spain. Okay. But yes, Katja and Christopher, yes, there was secondhand embarrassment. Okay. But I do agree with you. I felt Amanda I felt a little deceived. But here's y'all. Sergio also, he lived on his own, but Sergio's apartment, Trey, the apartment where you had to climb up on the kitchen counter and climb over the kitchen counter to get into the little attic space that's the bedroom. I was like, no, no, we are not doing this. We are not doing this. But there was always contention, as I said, right before, a year after the reunion. So now people are 2 years married. Sergio still cannot stand Rasmus. Don't ask me to be anywhere that ain't show related. And he can't stand, Rasmus and, of course, his wife, Chrissy, because he believes they're trying to sully the whole situation when he's just trying to navigate something that's very strange which is navigate having a child with someone who's in another country. But Amanda is happy. She got her kids. She got her husband. She happy. I can't be more embarrassed for her than she, if she happy for herself. Trey, what was your thoughts too about Sweden season one? I'm sorry, I focused on Ramses and Chrissy and Sergio and Amanda and Kat and Christopher because those were the top ones.
Yeah. What I remember the most about that season was Sergio and his mess. All of that mess. I was like, all right, this dude. It seemed like by the time they got back to the apartment, it seemed like everything was just popping up with him. Kids out of nowhere, possible kids out of nowhere. Yet this woman still hanging by him. We were like, why? Okay, stop it. And of course, Oscar, it was Mira. What? It was Oscar and Mira.
Yes, Oscar and Mira. And they got married and they still married.
How did that work? So we were wondering about that one too. I remember that. It was like, what? How? Okay. All right. But hey, sometimes opposites do attract, I guess. But as far as the first season of Sweden was concerned, it was okay. It was okay. I think, they had some success stories. They had some drama stories, Don't pull the line. I do wish, some of these, Amanda should have just got away. Just got away instead of dealing with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then remember the whole the thing, the second embarrassment with Kat and Christopher was he felt like she wasn't really attracted to him.
She wasn't.
And she said, well, I'm sleeping with you.
Okay. Whatever.
It's like, girl. After that, she removed her engagement ring. She left for the night to collect her thoughts. They officially broke up like the next day. And then Christopher, what we know about Christopher with his, y'all say, he was a little spicy. He threw his ring out into the waters.
Dramatics.
The dramatics. But after the show, Kat went and she dated Ade for a while.
Tell me all I need to know.
I was like, daggone it. Why did we have to do that? Now, I don't know if they're still together or anything like that. I didn't see anything. But, right. It was Ade she was dating Munira. But yes, it was embarrassing because Ade came to kind of like put down Christopher and a lot. And I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. But no, every time y'all hear me about the man that talks about you have not trained your dog, and that means you are a bad dog owner, that is Rasmus talking to Chrissy. That's where it came from. Sweden season 1.
He wasn't wrong.
He was not wrong. So let's go to Sweden season 2 because that
it got weird on season 2, boy.
That took me. So these were the couples for and the love triangle of it all for season 2. I could not believe that Jacob and Carolina not only got married, but still together.
Are they for real?
Yes.
Wow.
Still trying to navigate it because this is also where production showed us, that, she always talking down to him. Go get me this. Go do this. And I don't like when you do this. And Jacob would say, you fill my heart up. And we're like, where? But hey, it's still together. Karine and Nicholas, they are still together. They actually were the couple that were expecting at the reunion. And they were the smooth sailing couple, y'all. There was really no issues.
Except for the few that, seemed like they was trying to have with them towards the middle there.
Yeah.
It seemed like they was trying to make some issues. And I don't think Nicholas was having it. Like, nah, we good.
Yeah. Yeah. Nicholas was like, You're not gonna
Okay,
come. He was
relax.
Chad. You ain't gonna come between my relationship.
Yeah, y'all
But
can
guess
relax.
what, y'all? This couple, they live down the street from each other.
Cool.
Remember Corinne and Nicholas? They lived in the
Oh
same
yeah, they
neighborhood. They
did.
went to the
It
same
just
grocery
never.
store.
Yeah, they just never seen each other or met each other. It wasn't even down the street. They literally lived in like the same block. It was like,
Yep.
boom, right there.
But I have to thank the people who watch my recap who are from Sweden who really said that people really don't go introduce themselves like we would in public. You have to come with basically a co-signer. Somebody has to introduce you to people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they never really, even if they saw each other in public, they wouldn't have approached each other in that fashion unless they're part of a book club or something. Victor and Natalie, another boring couple. We were shown wet rag the whole time. Victor said he wanted more exciting. Natalie was not it. But they married and they still married.
Listen, I didn't get red rag from them.
It was bland though.
It wasn't sparks, but it was one of
They
those.
barely spoke, Trey.
Which was his name? Which was Victor's problem. Natalie, remember that was his problem with her. Like she really wasn't speaking to him. She was just she immediately saw. Okay, remember it almost got a little touchy there when one of her sisters started to get involved.
Yes.
And was telling her, was he good enough? Does he make enough money? That's when all that issue. And he was like, hold up. Remember his sister was like, hold on. And it was like it was going to be an issue there. I'm like, hold up.
Yeah, his sister pulled up.
Yeah. I was like, we ain't doing this. Okay.
What we're not going to do. He ain't going to fight y'all, but I would.
Yeah. But she was the prettiest girl out the season. He pulled her, and I did have questions. I remember having questions about her. I think I remember having questions.
Yes, she was a little too quiet and passive. We were like, where's the Spice? Where's the argument? They would talk to each other, say a line, and then there would be nothing said. It would just be mum.
I remember towards the end of there, she all of a sudden had all these issues with him, and I was like, where's this all coming from? Why you ain't say this in the beginning? Because this is the same stuff he's been doing. Why all of a sudden you got an issue with him? Like you should have been said something. Why you wait till the last minute? So
apparently another kid. They are expecting a child. Thank you for that, Munira. They're expecting a child. So again, Sweden, y'all are the very fruitful and multiply. Who is not going to multiply is Millie and Ola, because although they made it through all the way to moving in together, they actually broke up right before the engagement party.
Yeah.
Right before the engagement party.
His spleen was telling him differently.
Right. And he wanted a woman with long hair. And he kept harping on Millie with that. And Millie said, I don't grow my hair. This is how I like to wear my hair. He don't want you drinking wine. You can't have candy. You can't vape. You can't do none of the things.
I give him the vaping, but everything else, I was like, bro, just let it go. Like, bro, he was just trying to find every excuse not to be with that woman without just saying, hey, I just don't like you like that.
And what would he always go?
Or he'd go confess it to his so-called friend.
Yes. His friend which, had, it seemed like codependency. That friendship was codependency. And we were like, why don't you go marry that friend?
His coat friend, just to be for real. His coat friend. It was weird.
Sorry, Ari, if that's sending you off, but it used to send Ari off too when she would watch the show. That he's very, very in touch with the universe.
Oh, he's Ari. He's like, oh my God! If he said one more time, oh my God! I am just so sick of it. Oh my God. Sorry. I don't understand why. Oh, he irks me. That's Ari.
I don't know what's up with you and the impressions today. Dang, dang, Trey.
That's how she said it. She Ola bothered Ari. Okay, bothered. She's like, oh, I'm just so sick of him. It was the she put it. She's like, oh, I'm just so sick of him. He gets on my nerves. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh my word.
How you talk, Ari? I'm sorry. You know you got a little Valley Girl in you. It's okay. You got a little bit in you.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And speaking of Valley Girl moments, okay, Alicia. Now, Alicia was engaged to Oscar. She had to choose between Oscar and Tim. And while Tim is a very handsome man, Savannah, okay? Tim is a very handsome man, very handsome Swedish man, okay? Alicia went off with Oscar. Oscar didn't show like he was interested in her at all after the fact. And she just kept on crying. Sound like a Britney. Crying and wondering why this man not acting like he want me. And you got to talk to me. Why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you sharing with me? Da, 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 da.
She was going. This is the Oscar I was thinking about. These two.
Okay.
I'm sorry I got them mixed up with the first Oscar. This is the Oscar that I was like, why? It just felt like to me she was putting 10 on 2.
Yes.
On a lot of things. Even though he did nothing to her really to warrant her type of reaction. It seemed like she wanted, if you remember, it seemed like she thrived in, what did you say? She thrives in drama. If it's not fire, if it's not spicy, it's almost like if you're not saying something crazy, you know those people, if you ain't saying something crazy to me, that means you don't love me. I'm like, what?
I don't think it was crazy. I think she wanted him to show some kind of interest. He was not showing interest. He wasn't asking her questions. He wasn't grabbing her a drink. He wasn't checking on her. It was just he's there. And for what?
But that's always how he came off, though. From day one. So that's why I'm like,
he showed more interest in the pods, though. But again, you're forced to speak.
High vibe. I would love to. We would love to have you come on and hear your opinions. I am quite sure you would provide such graciousness to this live. Ooh. Please bless us with your voice, okay?
Ooh, okay?
Please bless us with your voice.
So you could interpret it. But here's the love triangle. Alicia had to choose between Oscar and Tim. She chose Oscar. We saw Tim and we knew Tim was fine. Okay.
Double back on Tim.
And they brought Tim. They brought Tim in for the bachelorette shindig. And when I tell y'all they were cozy up on the couch, Tim, their knees were together. Tim had his hands in the back of her neck at the base of her hair, their forehead to forehead. She was crying, and they were in view of Oscar.
And you know what? She finally got the fire she wanted out of Oscar.
Oscar said, oh, hell no.
Hell no. She finally got the fire. Oscar turned up. Said, oh, nah, I feel so. No. He said, nah. Miss me with your bull crap, okay?
They met at the train station. They went to walk at the park at the side of the river, and broke up. And she crying.
Oscar said, I'm done. I'm done.
And then she dated Tim after the show.
Ooh. Trifling.
And then Tim is acting like, yeah, we dated, but I didn't really want her.
Crazy. Now you got egg on your face.
She was played. It was secondhand embarrassment for me. I'm like, again, like how Britney was, and I'm saying, don't beg this man. Alicia was in front there begging these men.
See, this was my problem with Felicia. This is why I said what I said earlier. I do think Oscar liked her. The
Yes.
problem is she kept pushing him and it was driving him away. She kept pushing him to be something that he was not. And he hasn't been that since you met him in the past. He told her straight up, I'm a chill dude. I'm not as fiery as you are or that you seem to be. She's the one that said, well, maybe I need someone like you to calm my fiery side down.
He said, I'm not your daddy.
That too. I ain't trying to be. It seemed like she wanted daddy though.
Oh, not she want a daddy.
I mean, how she was acting.
Yeah, it was how she was acting. Okay.
She's the type of girl that I was gonna change how I was gonna say this. I'm not gonna change it. She's the type of girl that wants somebody to put her in her place. She's that type of chick.
She does want a fiery man. I would give you that. She did kind of say spicy and all that stuff, but she was spicy and given stage 5 clinger. But it's like she went from Oscar and then she was expecting Tim to be there for her, and Tim dated her and was like, yeah, I was there, we went out, but it wasn't worth the squeeze. It was wrong.
He got what he wanted.
Exactly.
I guarantee you she gave up them jaws. And he went.
I mean, she was giving up a little too much, cuddling on the daggone couch with her fiance not 10, 20 feet away.
Diabolical. You know why? We went into this, but we never actually talked about watching it. You know why she did it? I'm laughing.
You gonna say she for the streets?
No, it ain't even about being for the streets. She's the type of woman that will do things to garner a reaction.
Understood. Do you really love me, or are you just saying so?
Yeah, she's gonna do things, put herself in a situation, even to the point of self-sabotage, to get a reaction from you. But
she got a reaction.
Yeah, and that's also the tail end of things. Sometimes you don't bank on the type of reaction you're gonna get. Like, oh yeah, he gave you a reaction, all right, and he did exactly what you're supposed to. Done. You disrespected me. It ain't gonna work. Okay, boom.
I know, but for a fine man like Tim to act so ugly, it was disturbing. At least to me. I don't know about the others who.
I think Oscar looked better than Tim, personally.
I know many of the Swedish, ladies also say that Oscar is the preferred look, the perfect aesthetic. But again, I'm a little different. Out of all the men on this thing, Nicholas, I think, is the most handsome, but that's somebody's husband. So, but definitely it was wild. I felt for her at the reunion. I was clutching my pearls for her. And I was like, Alicia, you better pick it up, girl. You better pick up them bootstraps. Because this ain't it. This ain't working. And I will not be sitting here having these men embarrass me. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Okay. But definitely go ahead.
I was going to say aesthetically, I would have probably chosen out of Natalie or Alicia. Aesthetically.
Right. You did say it. Natalie's one of the prettiest girls there. But y'all also, this Sweden, you see beautiful sections of Sweden for both of them. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, places in Sweden. And again, that's how we got most of our audience too, came in with Sweden. And as you saw here, Munira, who is part of our family here, she definitely is from Sweden, was guiding us through this as well. Okay, glad she found us. Where else do we have to go? We have Germany, right? And Mexico.
Oh, yeah, we have Germany. Oh, Mexico. Good Lord of money.
Where would you like to go?
Let's go ahead, Mexico.
Mexico. We have Germany, Mexico, France, and Argentina.
I won't have much for Argentina because I missed out on them too.
Well, let me hit Argentina real quick.
Yeah.
Yo, we had this is a lot of international versions. Yes, these were all the people.
There's a lot of
And we
people.
go. I'm going to cut through it real quick. Julieta and Ezekiel. Julieta was the darling of the season. She had a lot of, issues personality wise, a little sharp, a little hectic, but she was a gorgeous young lady, absolutely gorgeous. Ezekiel was the chill guy that can handle the fluctuations in her behavior and give her room. But also who liked Julieta was Jose Luis. And his lady, Florencia, didn't like that. And so she was on a mission against Julieta. It was drama. Mauricio and Maria Emilia. Mauricio is the fashion guy. He was also vegan, very good looking man, but he had also a very young child at his grown age of, I think he was 40 some years old, and his daughter was like 6 or 7, whatever. I can't remember exactly, but Maria Emilia was a lawyer, but also what they made it seem like he was talking to her about her weight a lot. So he got a really bad edit talking about her weight and she needed to lose weight and all that stuff. He got a really bad edit. They made it to the altar and said no. Same with Julieta and Ezekiel. They made it to the altar. I think they did say yes and they ended things pretty quickly. Even Roberto did not make it past the vacation. And Roberto didn't know how to grill. He was a farmer. And I thought, nice to see you, Munira. See you next time. Thank you for stopping by. I was wondering why they said he couldn't barbecue, why that was like odd, but apparently it is odd if you are the cattle rancher too and you ain't know how to grill. But Argentinian men supposed to know how to grill too. The reason why Augustina is there is because she was the firecracker and she was inserting herself in a lot of people's relationship, but she was the one that's like, you need to have money to date me, telling all the men. Jose Luis and Florencia, yes, she was the firecracker. She was the loud one. I see you looking at that girl. You need to look at me. But they left the pods not engaged because they picked other people. Florencia had picked Tom, but Tom picked Flofi. Jose Luis picked Julieta, but she picked Ezekiel. And they left and they met up at the airport, had a date, and decided to get together. And the show decided to allow them to move into the apartments. So picture how when all the couples get together, Tom thought he got rid of Florencia. Julieta thought she got rid of Jose Luis, but then they all moved into the apartments. That was wild. Tom and Flofi, they were even keel. I remember somebody teaching me in Argentina this whole thing of marriage. Marriage is a suggestion. People are together for 20 years and may get married later on in life. And for Tom and Flofi, they didn't want to get married right away, but they left together. Okay. Now, Brenda and Matthias, they did at the reveal decide that they couldn't get together right away. Let's try it out in the real world. But in the real world, they couldn't really get it together because they lived very far away from each other. But Brenda was willing to move with her 2 children to where Matthias was and make it work, but they just couldn't make it work outside. They were the nicest as far as a reveal, and I really don't want to get married and go along with this. They were the nicest. Now, y'all, I got to give y'all a trigger warning. Okay. For Emily and Santiago, when I was doing this, I was triggered by Santiago by many things he was doing, but Emily was fine with it. Like she would be eating and he said, we got to go. And he would take the plate out from under her and take it and put it in the fridge. I was like, no. Emily, get out of there. But they did end up getting married, saying yes. He had met her family, met her dad, met everybody. And Emily and Santiago are now divorced. He was arrested for assault, battery. Emily was very brave that she went on an Argentinian interview and she came in with her eye all messed up because she was attacked by him. Yes. That was the most shocking thing. And she did it that way again because like Brazil, Men are not usually held accountable for that kind of behavior. So she did it too, for her, not only her protection, but to get to be heard and for shock value. You could not dismiss it if you saw her. You could not dismiss it. She came with her big shades on, and then she took it off on camera to let the people know what happened.
Jesus Christ.
And Santiago was arrested. There was, pictures and posters of him being arrested and everything. And I haven't followed to see if he was sentenced at all or what happened, but I was very, very much, it was very brave of Emily to come forward like that. Now, Emily had started off and she got the mean girl edit because she was a mean girl to some of the other, some of the other girls. And she was doing certain things that I was like, girl, we really don't do. Like, she asked him if he was a jealous guy. And he said, not usually jealous, but, please don't do things. And she would be in the pool and hanging off one of the other grooms, hugging him while she in her bikini and stuff. And I'm like, girl, that ain't the thing to do. But I'm thinking maybe it's me culturally. That ain't the thing to do, and then he would be mad and upset at the hotel room and he'll be, I need time alone. I need to go away. I need to, to be alone, blah, 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 blah. But again, that totally unacceptable what Santiago did. And I was seeing signs of stuff. And I'm sorry that, he came to pass to be, to have done as she accused him. Okay, y'all, it's an accusation. He was arrested for it. I don't know if there has been sentencing for that. But if you are watching Argentina, there's, a lot to learn about the Argentinian culture as well. That's why I would say too, with Brenda was with her children's father for years, and she took care of him in his last 2 years. He died of sickness. And I was like, I was like, why didn't she just marry the man? But again, that's why the Argentinian culture, I was taught and told, hey, she could be with him for years and don't marry him until like probably later in life. But that's Argentina. I really enjoyed Argentina. I learned a lot. A lot of people from Argentina did join, my channel, and did invite me to come to Argentina, especially to eat the barbecue. I definitely would. But huh?
Are they going to be able to have a second season after that?
Yes, they are scheduled to have a second season after that. They are still scheduled to have a second season. Brazil had a season after Ingrid's incident.
Yeah.
Hey.
But I think it was a big reason why they decided to do the 50 and up season after that.
Probably because they would behave, but as we see clearly, they behave in that regard, but not, behaving. But again, that was the startling part. Remember, Brazil we had, and now we had one in Argentina, but definitely there's no way you could, interpret this. But here's the other thing. I like the parents here in Argentina. Jose Luis, his mama, is my favorite. When I tell you that woman has no lid over her mouth, and she is so awesome, so cute, and she's just like, you better marry my son. He love you. If he come and bring you in front of me, he love you. That kind of thing. So, and Florencia was always doing some things to kind of push his buttons, I think, too, like, oh, I have 4 cats. If you don't, and she would do different things. He had to keep on proving he loved her. Like one night he took her out and had roses all over the place. And she's like, this is it. You could do better.
Nah, I'm out. I'm out. Nah. I know where this is going.
Nope. He wrote her a love letter. That's it.
Nah,
you need to go back and rewrite that. You need to do better.
Oh, nah. Save him. Someone save him now. Please don't tell me they worked out.
Yes, they worked out.
Oh God,
they did. He decided to marry her, and they're still married. So
blink twice if you're in trouble, bro.
We learned that she had, deep abandonment wounds. Her brother did bring it forth and kind of had a talk with her about that. And she did kind of realize why she kept pushing him is because how she wanted him to show her love. It wasn't healthy, but she grew on me by the end of the season. But yes, that was Argentina. So I would just say that was the aftermath of Argentina, because by the reunion, they were fine. They were by the reunion, but right, Rana. We already talked about Ingrid's experience and that season. Yeah. So you did say you wanted to go to Mexico, right?
Mexico.
Mexico. Yo, after Mexico, we have Germany and we have France. But I thank you all for hanging out with us. Okay, I thank you all. This was a lot. I didn't expect it to be this much, but I'm like, daggone it. How much did I do? How much did we do?
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of the international ones. Well, you definitely caught them all. I missed 2.
Yeah, I missed 1 because I wasn't reviewing at the time. See, I was reviewing.
I missed 2, and I did half of France because there was a lot of shows out during the France.
It was France and Brazil at the same time.
And then I couldn't make the lives for France, so I kind of stopped after episode 3 or 4. I was like, I just listened to y'all reactions for it. I was just like, nah, this is too much. I had a lot of shows to watch. It was a lot.
Now we had an eclectic bunch here for Mexico. Mexico is another favorite. Okay,
Mexico.
Chema is a professional poker player, and we thought, Sylvia did say she was a plus size model, and I didn't know. We didn't know if Chema liked Sylvia, but this was the couple, Chema and Sylvia. They made it all the way to the altar. He does have a daughter. She met his daughter and everything, and they seem to be going around okay. But at the altar, they decided to run away into the gardens and have the cameraman almost trip and fall, running behind them.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because they were like, do you think love is blind? Do you say yes? And then it's like, I say, and they ran out. Ran out.
That was so weird. You think
okay, no problem. Sam. We just going along.
Yeah, you think production set that up?
I think they could have. But Chema, they were chilling. I mean, I don't know. They made it seem like they were really together, but I don't know. It wasn't as believable for me on her side.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed it was such a flip on the reunion that I was like, this is a totally different person. What's going on here?
Now,
yeah. No, it just seemed like the way she was. I remember that reunion, the way she was going on. It seemed like they made a conscious effort to make him look a certain type of way. And I was like, he didn't do none of this doing the show. He was never disrespectful to you or anything. We ain't heard him say none of this. What's going on? Even he looked shocked. Like, it was like, what's going on here?
What remind you of? Zaynab and Cole.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like weird.
It was definitely weird. It was like all of a sudden Chema was absolutely a detestable human being. I was like, what?
When did this happen?
Right. You only showed none of that. But here's where I thought was a little detestable. Yes, we had Karen and Fernando. This is where the spiciness was. All the ladies wanted Fernando, y'all. All the ladies wanted Fernando.
He was the most eligible bachelor.
Right, including Iris that you see across there.
Well, actually, Renee was. But
to me, Renee was the most eligible bachelor, but that's me. Okay.
Renee was the guy.
But here's where they were real messy. I thought production was messy. Out of all the couples, they always filmed Karen and Fernando after hours between the sheets. And we heard the sound effects. And that was one of the things that I was very, very vocal about on my recaps. It's like, we know there are tons of, Love is Blinds before this. Everybody's given some decorum of privacy except this couple. That's where I was pissed. Yes, Karen was fiery. Yes, Karen was tick, tick, boom. And she would tick, tick, boom. Yeah. But I thought it was not very respectful to them as a couple to constantly be subjected to that.
She started to show a lot more jealousy towards the end there, like possessiveness as well. Like she got possessive. Like, oh, okay. Which It's been cool. I was kind of expecting that from a lot of the women, but she actually went there towards the end. So it was like, oh, whoa, what's going on?
She was like, "What are you doing here?" to Iris. Because Iris was after Fernando hard. And it was between Karen and Iris for
Yes.
Fernando. And the way they filmed it, they made us think that, again, it was, Iris was his preferred, when actually, when he talks about it, Karen was always his top.
Mhm.
So they made us feel like, Karen just slipped in. Karen has a child, has a daughter, and she's divorced. So we're like, oh, he didn't want to divorce her with a child. He probably want Iris, who's a
Mhm.
lawyer. But no, he said he preferred Karen. He preferred the tick tick boom.
Iris, Iris already seemed to be a little too full of herself.
Yes. She knows she's a hot commodity.
She wasn't that hot.
But
That was the problem. She was cute. She has status for herself, but she kind of, let's just keep it real. Socially, she was above Karen. Looks wise, she couldn't touch Karen with a 10-foot pole,
I agree there.
and she kind of acted like it too.
Because status was it. That is their
Yeah,
culture, is status.
yeah.
As we're told, it's about status.
Now, the problem is when she got with Renee. Renee is actually, let's keep it real. He was a status above her.
Yes.
He was status above her, and she didn't. She acted like she didn't realize it until it was got put in front of her face. Like, nah, think of his sister's the one that had to do it. It
Right.
was
His
like,
sister had to check her. He had
like,
two sisters. Now,
yeah.
y'all, Renee is a doctor.
Oh
He
yeah,
is a medical doctor, but he's a doctor that likes to also, when he's not, being a doctor, he is having fun. The problem Iris had with Renee, which we all had with Renee, he's a very approachable guy, very nice, very even keel, really nice guy. But guess what? With all that doctor stuff, he had no savings.
true.
No savings at all.
He partied hard. He spent hard.
That's what he said. He's like, when I make the money, I spend the money. And
Yeah.
he could be spending it to party and travel and all of that. He also would spend on his family and on his two sisters, even the one that's married. He still would spend because he's the boy.
The baby boy at that.
He's the baby boy at that. No, the other
Was he?
sister was younger. He was
The middle?
the older brother. He was the oldest.
I thought he had an older sister. No, I thought that the sister was the one that really was going to Ellis. I thought
Oh
she
yeah,
was older.
yeah. The married one was older than him. He was sandwiched in the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, so no savings was wild to us and wild to Iris as well. So also
Well,
when
it
Iris
wasn't
met
that he
him,
had. It wasn't that he had no savings. He would build up his savings, then spend it on something big, and then build it back
right,
up again.
right,
So
exactly. He was in a yo-yo with his
yeah,
finances. He
the
wasn't stable.
consistency. The consistency was he made money, always had money, but the consistency of his spending habits was the issue, which was understandable on that part for Iris. I get that part. I was like, hey, bro, yeah, he probably did.
And we would have understood that if that was her reasoning, because she met up with him, they had a reveal, and she decided she didn't want to be with him.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at it, Renee has more of a native look to him, and I find that to be the most attractive thing about him. But he more looked like the native folks of the area, and I really, really like that about Renee and his, his family. Some of it, but he was, as y'all see with the cast, he is of the darker hue. Okay. But yes, his sisters had to check Iris. Iris also had a family where she has a special needs brother where she would constantly have to be his caretaker if her parents were no longer around, and she needed a husband that would understand that. And maybe she didn't want kids because she had to take care of her brother. And with a doctor in the family, okay, doctor in the family, it would certainly help with that. And Renee was on par with that. But yes, you could see there. Letty and Saul. Letty did tell us that she was neurodivergent, y'all. Okay. So she was overstimulated with everything that was going on with the show. Um, Letty felt that Saul meeting up with her and being more tactile, she didn't like it. He wanted to more hold hands. He wanted to be able to kiss her, even if
Mhm.
it's not on her lips. He wanted to be able to be physically affectionate with his partner, but Letty was not comfortable with that, which is her right. It is her right not to be comfortable. The
Mhm.
question for Saul and everybody else is like, well, what is comfortable?
Yeah.
What can he do to make you feel comfortable or is comfortable? And she really didn't have answers for them. She didn't have answers for the ladies or the men, and they were trying to tell her this is going to be difficult
For
if he
anybody.
for anybody if he can't even hold your hand.
Mhm.
You know, and she's like, it's just too much. And everybody was trying to help her, but eventually they left the vacation, and he does have a daughter, so he was like, he didn't like the implication that was being pushed that he was trying to be, physical without permission. Or he
Mhm.
had that cleared up
Yeah.
real quick,
Yeah. 'Cause
real quick.
he saw where that was going.
Yep.
That it was. He was like, nah, hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Letty was she was frustrating
She
at times.
was.
Very frustrating. Like you, okay. It almost got to the point I just remember like throwing my hands up, like, baby girl, you might have to just be by yourself. And I know that's not something you don't want. That's why you came on the show. But you might have to be by yourself because unless you find someone that's just as that version as you are, and then that's the percentage on that is probably gonna be low. You know, you're gonna have a hard time out here. I can't even hold your hand.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, she is engaged right now. She is engaged.
congratulations,
Not to Saul, but she is engaged. But
congratulations.
they made it all the way to the apartment, and when he moved in, she's like, I'm not moving in with you. I got to go home.
Mm,
And that was the end of them.
mm.
Real quick, early and in a hurry. And we only had, at the time 4 until they let Renee and Iris come back
Oh
because
yeah, they had to come back.
they
Yeah,
had to come back. When Renee and Iris, when she said, "Oh, I don't want to be with you," and then she's like, "Oh no, let me go back onto the show." She talked to Renee. She met up with him. She was able to tell him what her issues were, and Renee took her back. And we were like, "Renee, don't take Iris back." We were like
yeah,
that. It's like, But he took her back, and that's where Karen went tick tick boom at the barbecue because they walked in, and she's like, "Renee,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Iris don't want you. She wanted to come back to try and steal my man."
She thought she was rid of her. She
Yes,
thought she was rid of her because actually they were beefing all the way since the pies.
yes,
They were beefing since
yes.
the pies. She's like, oh nah, not this chick, not this chick. Oh no.
So yes, Karen flipped,
But
and
Fernando was
she
like,
flipped.
I'm in a situation now. I got to now
What?
I got to overachieve and tell my woman, no, baby, it's just you. It's just you. Like, oh my
Yes,
god,
yes. He had to do a lot. He had to do a lot.
he had to do a lot of reassurance. It was like, hey, bro. And when you look at it, I was like, listen, Iris was cute, like I said, but nowhere near Karen. So it was like, okay, what's going on here? Like,
But you don't know, what Karen is dealing with.
yeah,
Karen is dealing with the fact that she's a divorcee. She has a child.
yeah.
Again, even though Karen is absolutely gorgeous, that still would play a factor
And she
in how
pulled a
you're thinking
Fernando.
you're being assessed. But Fernando, love her daughter all.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really awesome. That is a beautiful family. And Karen and Fernando are still together. Okay.
And that was a switch I noticed. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was not. I don't know if you remember, I was not the biggest Karen fan at first,
Me neither.
not at all. But it did switch for me when we met her daughter and she
Yes.
started talking about her daughter. And I went, okay, now I can see why Karen is acting the way she's acting, at least on some point, on some things. Because I saw a better side of her came out when her daughter was around. And she was more in mother mode. I said, okay, this
Because
girl I
she
like.
because she flipped on Fernando when he got a call from the ex, remember?
Oh
The
man.
ex who needed a help with something,
You
and she lost it there. Had to leave the apartment, but we could still hear her. Lost it.
Yo, it was. Listen, she is a possessive woman. Okay, this is real possessive. All
Who
right.
this whoop boop and then a
I
boop.
was like, oh shit. But then I'm like, she just needed help. Just needed help. Like, I'm
He
just
said I didn't
trying
go
to help.
anywhere. I just took the call. I
Just
had it
took
on
the call.
speaker so you could hear
Yeah.
everything. I didn't do anything.
Like, I just took the call. Oh my god! But like I say, I have to give her credit. She did flip for me when I was like, okay, you met her daughter, and how his daughter reacted to him, and
Yes.
how he reacted to her. You saw some walls come down on her, and it
Yes.
was like, okay,
Yes.
I can see how this could work now. But yeah, she was. I didn't know. I was like, woo. Nando's looking like, uh, uh, uh,
Fernando Fernando always Fernando always had a hole he had to crawl out of. Always.
yo, oh,
Now, n- now Willie and Francesca, and y'all, I intentionally
uh,
left Gerardo and Fernanda for last because
yeah,
y'all knew while I was doing this recap, we were talking about Francesca and Fernanda, and then we had Fernando. It was a whole lot going
it
on
was
for me
too
when I
many.
was doing those recaps.
It was too many.
There was
I
too
knew
many,
that
but
They throw Francesca in there just for good measure.
Francesca and Willie. Willie was a regular, simple dude, regular guy. Okay. He was a working man, and his parents were together forever. And he had a family tradition of like I forgot a Celtic tree or something. You always had a tree necklace, and he got her that necklace thinking that this would be his wife. They did not get married, but
No,
Francesca's dad was the highlight, even though she was she traveled, she grew up in private schools and stuff because her dad was a rock and roll star. And the
yeah,
minute I saw him, I said, "Oh my God, he looked like an old rock star." And he was.
yes,
He was an old rock star with long blonde hair and everything. And she also had a daughter. And the mama, someone from Mexico sent me, the mama has a podcast about rock and roll music. So definitely I was totally intrigued with that family. But they went all the way to, the end, and it was a no from her. And
I feel sad about them. I'm trying to remember.
it was
I'm,
sad because Willie, he was hot and cold though. Remember, he had left. He had to left. It was all overwhelming for him. He had
yeah,
left, and then came back, and they had a talk, and he would leave and come back, and it was always like that with him. And I
yeah,
think too, for me, Willie probably, he didn't measure up to the rock star lifestyle that she would have been used to growing up. But she was okay, but she wanted to be, remember, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and he was like, "Well, I really don't have that. If you're willing to kind of peer down a little bit more, this is how I work, this is how I do things." So, definitely. But she tried to play him at the reunion, and I didn't like it. When she gave back tried to give back the necklace that he gave her, and he said, "No, that was for you. I bought it in good faith to give it to
yeah,
you. I don't want it." And so she just put it on the floor in front of him at the
yeah.
reunion thing. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't understand why you going through all that. It was kind of weird. They
Totally
was trying.
unnecessary.
It was trying to be that whole reunion. They was trying to be extra. Everybody, the
Right.
cast was being extra for some reason. I was like, what's going on? This is weird.
Right. And right, Rana, he was being a little wishy-washy. Willie was hot and cold, hot and
Yeah,
cold. He wasn't fully committed to it. And, Francesca was being a little bit of a mean girl throughout the show, but we didn't get that
true.
edit until like later on. And she was mean. Now, you see at the top there, Gerardo was with Fernanda. He got engaged with Fernanda. But also in the pods, he had a thing for Maffa.
Mm,
Now, y'all, they bring the exes or they bring the ex people, um, people they used to date in the pods, they bring them in for the one of the parties, and Maffa came, and Francesca and Fernanda. No, Fernanda wasn't there. Francesca and a few others were kind of poking at Maffa. Oh, you said you're a singer. Why don't you sing now? And when she sang something, she made a song for Gerardo in the pods, and they were, well, why don't you sing us that
Yeah,
song? Let's hear that song.
that was
and,
weird.
and they were laughing at her like it was high school.
That was weird.
It was really, really bad. But here's the thing. So class system, Fernanda was of a higher class than, most of them as far as money. Okay.
Yeah, she comes from.
Um, right. She came from money. Gerardo, he lived further out in the country. He believed that dogs belong outside. And Fernanda was like, hey, my dog lives in the house. Another case of the animals. Okay. So he got used to it at the apartment, but he had certain rules where the dog should not go. And she's like, well, my dog is my dog is my dog. But she did try, okay? But then they had a blow up.
Yeah.
You remember that, Trey?
Yeah, it's flashing in my mind. It was a whole thing.
In my mind. It was no Merry Christmas in this one. No Merry Christmas. Fernanda flipped the lid because he was talking to Maffa in full view at the bar of everybody. He didn't even touch the woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's having a conversation with her.
He didn't even touch her.
She
didn't
got
even hug her.
And she got
wind of it. Not only that, y'all know how we have the cameras on the inside? Fernanda threw a blanket over the camera, and all we heard was the boom, boom, doom, doom, and the all we hearing is stuff being thrown and the mouth going.
Yep. Canalo's like, nope. Nope.
Gerardo went to the kitchen and sat under the camera in the kitchen, because what you're not going to do is say, I did nothing.
Yo, she went off. She went clean off up in there. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, he was having a conversation with Maffa, which that's what you're supposed to do at these get-togethers. They set you up that way. The producer, hey, go have a conversation with this person. He did that, and she was like, you saw the flip of her eye. She got worse than Karen, which is crazy.
Yes.
That's what shocked everybody. It was like, Karen went, oh my goodness.
yes.
You remember that? What? Karen went, oh my goodness.
Karen was horrified.
Oh my goodness. I was like, now when the drama queen herself is saying, yo, that chick is wilding. Yeah, it's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Time to get it together.
Gerardo was blinking twice everywhere. Help me. Like,
he was. He was. Man. We felt sorry, but Gerardo, he went under the camera. He would make sure the camera was in full view of him so that you can't say I did nothing. She grabbed the suitcase, grabbed the dog, and she left.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. He might not have survived that relationship. He might not have survived.
Right. He may not. We don't know. We really don't know. But again, I think after the show, he and Maffa tried to date or whatever. They did go out one time, and they were like, okay, it's gonna be cool because they both were in the arts, but we don't have anything romantically. But then when Fernanda heard that at the reunion, oh my God, see, I knew you always wanted to go and be with her and da 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 da. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
But what I did like with Mexico's reunion is that when we were to determine if the people were together or not, they had them go and stand on this stage, and the stage will turn green or red if they were together or not. And I like that.
That was interesting. I was like, okay, what are we doing all this extraness for? Okay, whatever.
It's Mexico.
Cool. Yeah, they definitely was extra. When's the second season of that coming back?
It was supposed to come back this year because it was supposed to be back already, but it'll come back next year. They say it's next year. And y'all, I have a post that has all the ones, including Netherlands is supposed to be next year, Poland, Canada. So there are newer international versions. So it may be some that push back to allow room for the newer ones because, Italy starts on Monday, y'all. Love is Blind, Italy starts on Monday. Was there anything else about Mexico you wanted to talk about? Because isn't Germany the last one?
Yeah. Mexico, I had to say probably was the most handsomest cast. Everybody was pretty much attractive on that show for the most part.
Really?
I mean, for the most part,
Okay.
relatively speaking, all the
Okay,
women were,
relative.
all the women were relatively attractive. All of the men, the only outlier was really kind of Willie a little bit, but for the most part, all of the men were attractive to a certain extent. Collectively, all together,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just thinking about it. Collectively, all together, who will you
Okay.
put this season against? All together of attractiveness, not many. Brazil may be the closest.
Brazil had, yes, France.
Yeah,
But you
I don't
see,
know.
I don't look at Mexico like that because Renee is the only attractive person to me. So I'm not the one, two, or three.
That's why I say relative. The whole cast together.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. That's why I'm pissed off. Italy ain't showed us what the cast look like yet, and I'm intrigued. But to me, Renee's hands down the handsomest. Even though all the ladies were after Fernando, I was like, why? Why?
He's aesthetically pleasing for.
Yes, he is. He is. He
Mexican.
feats the and that's what the people from Mexico in my, in my my subs say. Fernando is the most aesthetically pleasing of the men because again the Eurocentric features. Again, I got that. But to me, natively, psh,
I'm be
Renee hands
honest. If
down.
I remember, Renee was up there, but Chama was high. He was high up on the list, but he's just short. That was
Yes.
only his issue. He was high up
Yes.
on the list. Women thought he was hella handsome down there.
Yeah. Oh, Brazil and UK. Yeah, Brazil had a very, 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 very nice looking
But
cast.
yeah,
But
Brazil always hits UK. I don't know. You got wait a minute now. Hold on. Nah, there's a few boo boos in UK. Stop it. But yeah, Brazil always kind of been as far as good looking cast. It's been pretty consistent over the years. But yeah, yeah.
this is Germany.
Mm.
Okay. This was a German cast, y'all. Okay. After Germany, we have France, and we know France going to be short because we just had France, and that will be the last one, y'all. Thank you all for sticking with us. Okay. Over 3 hours. Next time, I should have done South America and Europe separately. Maybe next time we just do what we covered over the year. So we have Daniel and Hanny, and as you all see, Hanny is a lovely blonde young lady. Hanny was the belle of the ball. Most of the,
She was fine.
most of the men loved Hanny. Daniel, we couldn't figure out where he was from till he told us, which was Italy, his heritage, because he bald. Um,
Hmm.
and they ended up being engaged. They ended up going all the way to the end, and it was a no for Hanny. I know it was a no for Hanny, and I was like, what? Really? Why? But anyway, Hanny did say, Hanny said no, but they are still in a relationship. That's what I thought wild. That's what
Henny
I
was,
thought was wild.
Henny was a playgirl.
Yes.
She was a
Yes.
playgirl. It's all it was. She was playing in this man's face. She was a playgirl. Okay, couldn't take her seriously. At no point.
Next up was Pascal and Shella. Shella, absolutely gorgeous woman. Oh,
Yeah, she was pretty.
Jesus.
She was very pretty.
Absolutely gorgeous. So
Right.
they didn't even make it outside of the retreat. They
At
split
all.
up before the wedding. They split up on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't really feeling her. She was feeling him, but he wasn't really feeling her. And they split up really at the retreat. And he just was like, even though he would go to, Africa, he would travel to Africa, love that about her in the same, country she was from. And Pascal was like, yeah, no, this ain't working for me.
Damn. It
Then we
was
have
definitely.
yes, he was aloof. He was. He definitely was. Alina and Ilias. Now this was the
Hmm.
drama. Y'all, Ilias
Yeah,
was in love with Hanny, and he told Hanny at the retreat and everything that, oh, I think you're so beautiful, and we would really work. If you don't want to be with Daniel, we would really. You are my dream girl.
diabolical.
But he ended up marrying Alina, and they're still married to this day.
Diabolical. How, Sway?
But Alina was the plain Jane girl. Remember, we said that she
She
was a dark
was.
artist too. She was a dark artist. She used to play
She
him too.
was. Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
He's like,
It was
you may like Hanny, but I don't think Hanny like you.
they deserve one another. Just said they deserve one another. It was like, okay, you're playing games with one another. This is weird.
Right. Look at yourself. Do you really think Hanny gonna leave Daniel for you? Look at yourself. Now, what's up
Yeah,
with Medina
she
Rocho?
did
Stop.
say that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Listen,
did.
I don't care what y'all say. I felt sorry for Medina. Okay? Feel sorry for this brother.
Medina and Sally were the late people in the pods that we got, and Medina was very much they bonded on their love of the Lord, and they bonded on the love of celebrating birthdays. Really wild. But when she saw him and met him, Sally said no.
Yep.
Sally also said, "Oh, we have wristbands." They give each other wristbands. Remember, they gave each
Oh
other
my God.
jewelry. She gave him a piece of gold jewelry, and he gave her a plastic wristband from a concert. But it meant something to him.
Yeah.
Because that was, I think, the last concert he went to with his dad, or the last bracelet, something like that. But I was
And
like, plastic
it
versus
was
gold.
also the same date as something that was. It was the same. Not only was the last concert with his dad, it was also the date was significant to her as well. I'm trying to remember.
Yes. That was
Something
true.
about that date
Yes,
that
you're right.
made it important to her. And
But
that
she didn't.
because we had an argument, me and Dahlia had an argument with you
Yes.
because you was all about, oh, she gave you a gold band and all she gave it was this plastic. The gold band is plastic. And you just shaking. I was like, it meant something. It was sentimental. Jesus Christ.
I need sentimental, as in gold metal.
Oh my God.
Not the damn plastic rubber band.
I'll say her bracelet was impersonal. That's what I say to that. Give me this gold bracelet.
But that wasn't the major problem, Trey. The major problem is when she saw him.
Yeah.
She started crying in the back.
That was
and
crazy.
didn't want to be with him.
Guy. She didn't like it. It was rude. She did it rudely.
Yes. It was his faux locks, though, Trey. He had the faux locks. Who wants a man with crochet locks?
Listen, that's a whole different. I don't think she liked him. I don't think she liked his facial structure physically, nothing like that.
Yes, I think you're right.
Straight up. And I said it. I was like, oh God, he's gonna like her. I don't know if she's gonna like him. Y'all's all like, give her a chance and we can see it. I was like, nah, I don't know. And sure enough, as soon as them doors open, he was like, yes, but he felt it. Remember? I was like, yo,
yes.
He felt the energy from her.
Yes, he felt.
He felt it right off of her.
He said, you all right?
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, she knew it. He saw it as soon as she saw her face. I saw your face, see my face, saw your face. Okay?
Well,
you ain't like my face.
She went in the back and she cried, and then they told Medina that she don't want to be with him.
Off camera. That boy, you saw his smile drop.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Broke that
and then
boy.
Yeah, he didn't even leave the lounge with the reveal lounge. That's where he did his interview, and they told him, and his smile dropped. But she met up with him after that. They did not go to Greece, and they decided to give the relationship a try, so they let them move into the apartments.
Shouldn't have done that.
Because remember, Shella and Pascal had already dropped out.
Yeah.
So we got this open apartment. Y'all could just move on in. But they did say no at the altar. Now, where we also had fights was Marcel and Jen. I understood Marcel. He was a minimalist.
I thought he was cool. she. Mm,
She wanted someone more zesty.
yeah.
But he was vegan and he said he was even keel. He never changed who he was. He always asked, "How can I serve you?" Remember that? He always
Yeah.
asked her that.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
See,
But
men like this in these particular situations, men like this, unfortunately, will to some women will show they tend to show their deficiencies in them, and they don't like it, and they don't know how to react to it sometimes. Sometimes,
right, sometimes. But
because
hey, she broke up with him when a day before they were going to visit um they wanted to go visit, I believe, her mom, and she
yeah,
decided they weren't going to, and
mm-hmm,
she broke up with him in the hotel, and
mm,
he just sat there. And while they showed us like he sat there, I asked the question. I said, Marcel, considering how even keel, and he moves like a sloth, y'all. Real slow, real
mm,
processy, real and
deliberate.
real deliberate, not in a malicious way, but many thought he was odd, and I thought he was just that's how he behaved.
He's chilled
But
out at
I
all
said,
times.
how long did he sit there? And when we found out at the reunion, he sat there for hours.
Yeah, he had to process that.
Daggone it. He
He
sat
had to
there for
process that.
hours.
He was. I felt that he was really trying to make it work with her, but she couldn't get over, I guess, his, or how she put it, his lack of energy on some
Yeah.
things, and she couldn't get past that. That was really the main issue. But anything else, he seemed like he was the one putting in the effort to try.
Right, because we would look at it, and y'all, he was a little bit different. He would go off to retreats. He said he just need once a year to go off to a retreat for 10 days with no cell
Not
phones, no
not
electronics.
speak.
Huh?
Remember, he was the one that said could go and not speak for 10 days. That was part of his
Yes.
retreat, and
That was the thing.
that threw her off. She could not fathom.
How can you not speak for 10
Yeah,
days?
she could not fathom it. And he would. That's why half the time he was a good listener, maybe too good of a listener. He would sit there talking. She's like, "Why aren't you saying things?" He's like, "I'm listening to you."
Right.
Like, I'm listening to you. Like,
She wanted back and forth, and he
yeah,
and he was like, I'm just listening. Just
he listened
listening.
and respond. He always responded though. He
Yes.
always responded, but he would listen first and then respond to what he thinks. So it was like,
I know,
oh
Ari,
my
you always
goodness,
put him with Ola. You always said he liked Ola, but he wasn't toxic, but
he
as you
wasn't
said,
all
more
right.
normal. He was
Yeah, he
what
was.
he was what y'all ladies say you wanted.
He was
Slow to speak.
chill. Yes, he was chilled out. He would listen to you, take everything that you have an issue into account.
But
You know
he
what I'm saying?
listened and he put it into action because she said
Yeah,
she liked service, acts of service. She liked certain things, and he would always be serving her, giving her something, serving her first, checking in on her. And I'm like, what are we missing?
he gave you exactly what you wanted,
But
what
he
you
also
said.
had two lady roommates, which they say nothing happened. His lady roommates, he never was romantic with them.
And
But
we
yeah,
met them. Yeah, we met
yes, we
them.
did meet them. We did meet them. We saw his room, and I had photos. He was a real minimalist. He had the books on nails on the wall. He didn't even put a shelf up. Remember? He had a door as a table with the books, the stacks of books
Mm-hmm.
was the legs of the table. He was a
Mm-hmm.
minimalist.
Yeah, it
So
was.
so another couple that didn't even go far, but I think they were the honorable mention was Fabio and Alberta. They didn't even make it out the pause, but Alberta is gorgeous, y'all. I
Yeah.
couldn't leave her off this list, and I needed y'all to see the chocolata of Germany. Okay, I needed y'all to see the chocolata. It wasn't just Medina and Shelly or Shella, sorry, Medina and Sally or Shella. Alberta was gorgeous, and when Fabio met her at the mixer, Fabio was like thrown for a loop. and
Yeah,
she tried to shoot a shot, Trey.
he tried
You
to
remember
double
that?
back. He tried to double back. Nah, I never saw it from them in the first place. So I thought it was always a good decision that they never worked. So, but when he saw her, I knew he was gonna try and like, hey, hold on, let me try to fix this. You know. So, but personality wise, I don't think it never would have worked.
Right. If y'all hear my dogs, my children probably came back and my dogs are barking. The Fabio, I think he owned a property with his brother and mother, and they all lived in the thing. And Alberta was the youngest person at 26. It was I liked Alberta. I really, really liked her. And to move on to, you know, the spiciness, Tolga.
Uh, he thought he was God's gift. This man really thought he was God's gift to women, bro. I'm like, bro, you need to relax. You know what
Tolga
I'm saying?
thought he was the
Relax.
man. All of y'all want Tolga.
Jesus Christ. It didn't help the situation. He was in a triangle to make it that fed his it fed his
Ego.
yeah, his ego.
So
Like
Tolga had Hannah and Sheila.
yeah.
And in all the things, Sheila came out victorious. She got Tolga to pick her. He was really torn between her and Hannah. Hannah was the homemaker. Hannah was the, quintessential, she would make a house a home. They would be a power couple. So he had to decide which way he wanted to go. And he picked Sheila.
It should have been Hannah for real though.
It should have been Hannah.
Well, personality wise, it should have been Hannah.
It should have definitely been Hannah.
Yeah.
Definitely been Hannah.
Shella, I don't care who you with. It's going to be very difficult to deal with her.
Well, here you remember that night. That's one of my favorite nights because I have a short. Out there with it. Tolga is talking to the men at the night of the mixer on the vacation. Shella is telling the woman, "Oh my God, I'm so in love. He's so wonderful. He's so awesome. I'm in love." He's da, 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 da. Tolga is saying, "I'm suffering. I don't want to be here. I cannot stand her. This is
Yes!
all. This is all. This is all absolutely terrible. I
She's
cannot stand being around
insufferable.
her.
She's
Yes,
insufferable.
I am suffering. How do I get out of this?"
And he was. That's the funny thing about it. I told you he was going to be. I told this girl it's too stiff. I was like, no. I told y'all. I kept saying, like, bro, it's not going to, nah, she's not it. She's pretty, she's accomplished, but she's too stiff. I remember saying that. She's too stiff.
Yes, you did.
Her personality is too stiff. She's boring, actually.
But Netflix was wrong, y'all. Because she is talking about, "Oh my God, he's so amazing." And he's like, "I'm suffering." And you would hear her. He's like, "He's so amazing. I really love him. I'm suffering. He is so awesome and thoughtful." I cannot stand being around her. He is such a romantic guy. She just keeps going on and on and on.
Yo, this chicken. And I felt him. I thought he was wrong for a lot of shit. He was. But I felt him. Because I felt the same thing about her. I was like, yo, this chick is not it. I told y'all this chick wasn't it. Like, yo, she's annoying. She's annoying.
And
she's annoying.
It was annoying, but it was that scene alone. If y'all,
yes, Adrian, it was like that.
It was like that. If y'all didn't watch anything, whatever the couples mixer in Greece was, whatever episode that was, whether it was episode 5 or 6, you need to watch that moment. Episode 5.
It was the end of 5, I think. End of 5, yeah.
I am suffering. You need to hear the person that's translating it.
You should see his face.
See his face.
You can see the pain on it. He was like, "Oh God, help me, help me." He was like, "I'm suffering. I can't stand it. Oh my God."
He ain't got to blink twice. Okay, woo! He ain't got to blink twice.
He was wide-eyed. He was like, "Oh my God,
I cannot stand being here.
Woo,
I don't want to be here. I am suffering."
You know what? Let's keep it for real. Even though they played like they did, the rest of the ladies didn't like her like that either.
No, they didn't.
Not like that. She was like, she was insufferable.
She
She
was.
really was.
She wanted to
Oh,
control everything, and she did. But she told him she liked control.
yes. Yes. And let's keep it real. He's an egotistical maniac at times.
Yeah, he
But
can be.
you could tell he's also was like the life of the party, which he told you that's who he was. Life of
Yes.
the party. He's likable. You hang out with the guys, you can't help but like him. He's just cool. Just got a little too much ego on him. But you put an ego-driven man with this overly driven that thinks too highly of herself woman. Oh my God. So when Hannah showed up, you remember Hannah showed up? He had a conversation with her. You could tell he looked at her. He was like, "Oh, Katie, I can see the attraction's not there." But the moment they started talking, his spirits lifted.
Right.
He was like, "Oh my God, Hannah, wait
Right.
a
But he
minute."
tried to double. We thought that he wouldn't like Hannah.
I told y'all physically she wasn't there, but mentally, when they started
No, but
talking,
he loved her physically when he met her.
I told. I remember having the discussion. I was like, "This is only after he has experienced Shayla. This is only
Yes.
afterward.
No,
If
but
he would,
again, we also said because of his background, the
yeah,
women are more
he's
voluptuous.
yes,
So he
he's
would appreciate a more voluptuous woman.
yes." But I did say I was like, okay, given this situation, he liked Hannah more. He probably should have chose Hannah from the start. My only issue was if he would have met Hannah in the reveal instead of Sheila, I don't know if he would have been uberly attracted. But
Right.
but being that he chose Sheila, he met Sheila, there's an attraction. He did like what he saw. Okay, cool. When Sheila started running her mouth, that's when he got turned off. So now you double back and have Hannah come back. It almost to the point it don't even matter what she looked like.
Right. Because
She's
you
just
will,
better. She's
as,
just this is better
as
than what
Ari
I
said, he
thought.
was long suffering for a short
Yeah,
time.
it didn't even matter what she looked like. Get her away from me.
Right. Get
That's
her
all.
away from me.
That's all he
And
could think about. Get her away.
anywhere for a soft landing.
Whew.
Yeah.
He was trying to land. He was trying to soft land with Hannah. He was trying, boy. I made a mistake.
I made a mistake. And Hannah was like, you know what? You made a mistake, but you're not going to double back on me. I am
Yeah,
nobody's second fiddle.
and respect her for that. Respect her. That makes sense. Respect that.
Right. But no, this Germany was for me fun.
It
I
was
don't know
fun.
about the rest of y'all, but
It was
Germany
fun.
was fun. We, only had one wedding, which was Alina and Ilias, even though
Mm.
that was diabolical that he was still panting over Hanny. But they're still together.
I felt glad. I did feel glad that Daniel was a little more vindicated, especially when we got to the reunion. He was like, "Nah, I ain't." He almost fooled himself because he was hanging on to what Hanny was trying to sell him
Right.
about, while we still together. Until I guess he saw the show, and then he was getting the side stuff from Elias or whatever, or what was actually going on. Then he had to look at her differently, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, okay. Oh, you really trying to play me. You really trying to play me.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. He
mm.
did say Hannah was culturally more his type. But yeah, Daniel really found out she was, Hanny kept like Ilias's fawning over her from him
Yeah.
as well. And he
And
looked at her at the reunion like, this is what he said to you? You ain't tell me it like that.
exactly.
You ain't
And
tell
then
me
on
Ilias.
And then on top of that, she proved that she was really on there just trying to get brand deals and whatnot.
Yes. But they together. They dating. They together. They
Okay.
in a relationship.
I don't know about that. She's a good look.
She is a good look. She's a beautiful looking woman. So let's
So
get to the last one.
but by virtue of that, she will pull in other women for him. So hey.
One of the more recent ones, Love is Blind France. I guess we could just talk about this generally. Um,
Mhm.
sorry, my son was asking if I fed the dogs. Yes, I did. You weren't here. Um, the ladies, we found out France was a whole lot of class issue, and nobody ended up staying married.
Okay.
You remember Chloe and Alexandre? They were married after the fact. They were married on the day of, and then late. We were shocked at that one. I was shocked that Alexander actually said, "I do."
Mm.
Shocked at that one. But they did get married. Charles and Julie got married, and again, I was shocked at that one. I thought he would have been a no, but I don't know where the energy shifted with the two of them. But they also broke up, and I was, Julie had me embarrassed like Alicia at the reunion. Why are you still wearing this man's wedding ring? Why are you still begging this man to want you?
Mm-mm.
But Thomas and Kim split on their wedding day. Van Me and Sabrina split in their wedding day. Jonathan and Cynthia, they split in Morocco, and then Cynthia tried to come back and pull him into her web. And Yannick and Katina split in Paris.
Mm.
What were your thoughts on France? Because since this is more recent, I got less to say, and you weren't on our
Uh,
lives.
yeah, I have less to say because I kind of fell off after episode 3 or 4 because like it was way too many shows. Who was watching and covering it, and I'm working. I'm like, all right, nah, something got to give. Something, and it had to be France, unfortunately. So I would just time into y'all shows and watch you and Kojo's recap, and yeah, because you got to do that show at like 12 during the day to catch the France, time.
Yes, I had to do it at noon. Yes, you're correct to catch the France audience and to
Yeah.
the French subs and those who called in. Thank you so much for participating. So yes, I am aware, and that's why Italy. I had to look and see what prime time was at Italy. So that's why it's still 5 o'clock next week because
Okay.
Italy they watch shows a little bit later because remember they go out and have dinner late, so they have a later time. That's why I kept it at 5 and it didn't move till noon. So y'all, yes. So France, yeah, France was interesting. We learned, France is multicultural, as they say.
Attractive
The
cast.
attractive cast, except they were the first one where one of the men tried to sneak in a woman in the hotel, and he got himself kicked off the show.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, Gillian, which is the tan shirt in the middle, the tan golf shirt in the middle, between Tom and Jonathan. He was kicked. He was kicked to the curb because he met a lady that night when they went out to dinner and invited her back to the hotel.
Mm. I did hear. I'm guessing all of the diabolical stuff happened later on in the season and whatnot with the women because I kept hearing the women was moving crazy, moving mad or
The
something.
women were moving mad. If you look, Cynthia, was the height issue with her dude. But she was real talking to that man sideways. We thought he was the one that was more the aggressor, and then when everything came out, it was like she was more on him. Like when he would like hum when he was chewing. Don't do that. I don't like people. I don't like you humming when you're chewing. Stop it now. Don't work on it. Stop it.
Girl, you just had me pause. Like, hold on, who you talking to? What the hell? I ain't Mr. Elson. I'm playing.
That's how she spoke to him at the table. It was
Nah,
wild. He thought she was
no.
joking. I thought she was joking. She's like, no, stop it now.
Oh,
Now.
nah. See, nah, nah. You know what? My mama taught me well. Taught me to have too much respect for me to talk to you with disrespect. So you ain't about to talk to me like you crazy. Like, nah.
And then Sarah tried to make it sound like Julie was a floozy because she would talk about physical stuff and she encouraged the women to talk to the men about physical stuff. And she made it seem like she was a loose woman.
Floozy.
Yes, a floozy. That she was a
Ain't
loose woman and made it, tried to, shame her. And it was like it was unnecessary, but she came back to apologize and she came back, said her apology and left. But yeah, none of these people I thought was ready to love, or love is blinding it. So I was not surprised that France, you know, yes, they had two marriages, but I was not surprised that they both fell apart at the end because, definitely Chloe and Alexandre, I really didn't think they were going to be married at all. But turns out Yannick on the end, is very, very he owns property and all that stuff. So everybody's like, Tatiana, oh yeah, Tatiana dropped the bag. This is the one where Tatiana's mother chastised the man real harsh.
Hey, you talking about the black guy on the end there?
Yeah, the black guy on the end, and Tatiana is the lady in the middle in the black dress. Her mama dressed him down. Turn off that phone. What you doing? Da-da-da-da. I mean, ran into him. And I thought it was kind of odd, really odd. Because even though she's the elder, he is also the male figure in the room. And I thought she had to kind of, the African heritage would, lean towards the man, but she chastised him because, again, Yannick, no Yannick slander. Yannick, she said was late 2 hours for a date. Yannick also told her like, hey, I wasn't going to be doing that date. He was meeting with friends, but then she was late for the lawyer because they all have to do a prenup in front of a lawyer. But the show was diabolical, showing their meeting with the lawyer, but nobody else's.
Pick and choose for storyline purposes.
Exactly. So she was late, but we never were told till the end that she was late. That's why he didn't want to sign it. Everybody started saying, oh, Yannick is a brokey. Yannick is this. Yannick is that, because he don't want to sign a prenup. And his thing is, she was 2 hours late. The person isn't going to be there for more than 30 minutes. He's not going to sign this and go through with things because of this, because of the time constraint. But she made it seem like you just don't want to sign. You just don't want to marry me. But the man has assets, Trey. He owns property in Paris. He owns coffee shops.
You could talk all business.
His production company has different, not AI, but also technology that Netflix uses. He is associated with Netflix through a production company. His production company. This man has been educated here in Boston, in the UK, and in France. He has assets.
And they try to play in his face.
They try to make him seem like a brokey. Luckily, we didn't fall for it. Luckily, we on stateside didn't fall for it. Because the way he carried himself, the way he talked, the way he dressed too, we're like, no.
I'm still trying to figure out what the heck he's wearing right now. But, hey.
It's France, it's fashion. We just don't know it.
Yes, I guess. I don't know about that piece.
Yes. Or Yannick's aesthetic. Yeah, it was different. I do follow him on TikTok. He's pretty interesting there as well. But people go to his coffee shops now and they do see him. He's there in France. So he's certainly using this, in a way, but he don't need it. He really don't need it at all.
It sounds like he got recruited.
Yes, definitely he was recruited. We need a man to stand in, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. But y'all, that is our been around the world and I. Okay, that is our been around the world and I for Love is Blind. I appreciate all of you for being here for almost 4 hours with us, whether you are here. I'll also be putting timestamps so we can kind of get country by country if you want to jump, skip. I'll do that tomorrow. But definitely appreciate y'all. We are covering Love is Blind Italy. It starts on Monday with 4 episodes. Please make sure you tune into Netflix for that. And make sure that you, are subscribed to the channel and have liked the video. We have been here, as I said, for almost 4 hours. And I'm about to hop on over to Little Black Book 91 because we're talking Ready to Love. But Trey, tell the people what you're working on, where they can find you.
Well, you probably can't find me anywhere but YouTube a little bit when I'm talking to Miss Elsie and supporting her. But also, every now and then you might catch me on Instagram when I'm posting my foodie stuff. And sometimes where I'm located and what I'm doing. Just to give a little vibe. But besides that, I'm glad to have spent this time with everyone. I'm glad to have this laughs with everyone. You know, we would love to hear more of y'all come up and hear your voices.
Quit it, Trey. Now,
No, we gotta hear them more. We gotta hear our people more. We got to speak on it. You know?
We know why. We know why you want to hear their voices. But y'all, we did around the world, and we will pick a time to cover the US of A. Because that's what 9 seasons.
The travesty of that.
And we're gonna do it quicker than this, okay? We've been around the world and y'all have seen it, okay? Okay. If I let you up, hey, I'll probably let y'all up, but I don't want it to last longer than 4 hours. That's why I was only Trey today. That's why I was only Trey day. But y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate you. And as I always say, I'll see you on the next one.